Felicitations, my family of fledglings. And ghosts. It's so good to unsee you as well. Welcome to another Time Zone with yours truly, Damien Alme. Late, but not forgotten. Abandoning you for an hour and a half, but not forever. Because I quasi love you. Welcome. Hi. Hello. I kind of want some of this loose in the front, maybe? Show off the growth that I'm doing until it finishes growing to where I want it to be. It's still at that level where some of you are like, oh, it's perfect. It's the right long. And I'm like, it's not the right long. Not to me. Riel, thank you for showcasing the wisdom emoji. I made that myself. You know who inspired me to make that emoji? My late mother. And I particularly love it because of that. It's just such an interesting and weird and like literally no one in the face of the planet will ever have, unless you copy me, a purple panther with a third eye. Because it's mine. Because it was her idea. Yes, we finished Magna's Queef command. It was long time in the making. I ran into a couple snags, but I got it working, and it's everything I wanted it to be. I was thinking of all of my favorite gurgly, queefy sort of sounds, and that's the one that I landed on that I loved the most. So there it is. There you have it. Also, that done that the Bunbot keeps saying, that was a testing message I put in to the command, and I took that back out just now because she shouldn't be saying that over and over again. Bejeweled and eternally lamented. Can you tie your bangs under your nose? Probably. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. If I gave it the college try, I think they would tie under my nose. I just don't want to be tickled that way. I want to be tickled in other ways, thank you. Jim, hello and welcome. Missed the last few streams, but I just want to say I like the new light. Thank you. This was, I mean, it's the same light, honestly. It's a light that can change colors. Both, I have a bounce light that does, this side of my face, because lighting, man. It's not something I studied, but it's something that when I wanted to become a content creator full-time, business-wise, like and subscribe and follow on all of my socials, please. DamienHolme.com, and then go to my link tree, please, and then you'll find everything. When I started that, I did want to study some of that stuff, so putting a bounce light on the side is one of those components. Yes, I can see it. You probably can see it too. There are like ripples that happen because of a frequency problem. That's the better frequency that I have the camera set for, I believe. There's a worse frequency. Let me double check on that. Because I set this up a long time ago. I just want to make sure it didn't like what's the word I'm looking for? Reset itself. Where's my you son of a... Okay, yeah, I see the ripples really, really bad now, but I think they're worse when... Hello? Where's my other configure video button? Please? Hello? Where are you? Set to 60 hertz. If I set it to 50 hertz and it goes apply. Oh, it's gone. Oh, never mind. Wait, why was it at 60 hertz then? You bastard. Stay at 50, please. Stay at 50, please. Okay, the rippling effect should be gone because it's just a difference in frequency. My really, really bad webcam and the really cheap Amazon Prime Day deal light that I use have they like to argue like a married couple. Yeah, so that's a thing. And then I have this other light behind me. You can kind of see it in frame if you're watching on the widescreen on the landscape version. Over here, there's another light that lights up just sort of the backdrop, the wall and the goodies behind me, so you can see some of them. Obviously, the framing doesn't make it so you can see absolutely everything, but yeah. I liked the colors that were there before. They put me in a certain niche, and yet that niche is probably not like high. What's the word I'm looking for? High traffic niche. And what we're going for right now, and for the next, let's say 5 years, is I'm willing to take a lot of changes to my personality, my own ideas about things. I'm willing to move away from ideas that I have organically about how I want myself to be online and what I want to talk about and what I want to do in order to grow. Because making money doing this, if I made this into a full-time legitimate career, at the point where the money is coming in enough that all the bills are being paid, I will come back to, I promise, I swear actually, I will come back to the standards that I'm holding literally right now. Hello, Fabrice. How do you pronounce your name? I want to come back to these standards. I do. I'm not the sort of person that will let go of their principles, live a life of not holding true to a philosophy, a guiding light, and just shill for money and then forget where I came from. I'm promising you on this stream, which will live on YouTube forever in the live tab, so you will always be able to come back here and quote me on this, that when I'm making enough money to run this household, I will come back to the principles that I stand by. But until then, I may do some shilling in order to grow this audience to the point where Oz and the girls are set up. And once they are set up, not a big deal. Then it's, I don't have to keep doing the shill. But yeah, the lighting is, I'm working with a few people that might be joining the team to help Oz and my growth. And these people, while not professionals in the industry, have passion for our project and to see us succeed. And the lighting was the idea in one of their heads, so I can't take credit for that. And if they love and want to see the success of this channel as much as we do, then I want to hear their ideas out instead of just doing things the way I feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't care to go even raunchier than the queef sound Oz has. I mean, mine is pretty raunchy, but it's raunchy in a completely different way, I think, than people were hoping and expecting to hear queef. Was this purple crowd next to me? What does XP mean? So XP is a new YouTube chat feature where as you chat, donate, join as a member, and all these sort of things, you gain experience. And the more experienced you get to be on a leaderboard, and being on the leaderboard gives you certain perks. I don't know if they're like on a one stream only basis or if they stick with you until someone usurps you off the leaderboard. Not sure how that all works, but that's the thing. It's a new thing to try to combat channel points in Twitch, so you get experience in YouTube for being in somebody's chat. And I appreciate you being in mine tonight. Thank you. Go to your link tree and we'll find everything. Yeah. So my link tree is made by me. I don't want to use a third-party resource when I have my own website and I know how to make my own pages. So if you go to damienhalme.com/linktree.html, or you just go to my page, just myname.com, you can find in the very top text a question like, are you looking for the links? You can click on the word links and it takes you to my link tree of sorts, where I just have essentially every social, even my LinkedIn, like basically everything. So if you want to fill the bingo card with everything Damien Halme, just go there and you can just serial click every single bubble on that page until you have followed me on every social. Why? because it helps the algorithm. You can turn notifications off for all I care. Just the more followers, the more engagement, the more all that sort of stuff happens, the bigger this thing grows, right? Well, we find out why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So that one's easy for me to answer. The Apple Jacks one's a little bit trickier. I am past the age of understanding why kids love Apple Jacks if they don't taste like apples, but I'm still young enough to understand why Cinnamon Toast Crunch would appeal literally to anyone. It's covered with cinnamon sugar. I mean, come on. Who would not like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? If you don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, unsubscribe right this minute. We're not friends anymore. Just kidding. It's so dramatic. You can stay. You can stay. Hell yeah, go us. Yeah, Haley. Go us. You and I have more talks to have in the near future, because I gotta feel your pulse on this, Haley. Honestly, passion is the best thing you can get for a creative field like this. Well, then let's talk about tonight's discourse topic, because it's about what legacy you would like to leave behind, with the unsung part that I didn't want to add to the stream title because I didn't want to be like demonetized or shadow ratioed for this. But basically, after you're not here anymore, right? Because that's what a legacy really is. A legacy is less about something you've made and then you're still hanging out watching everybody engage with it. I wouldn't call that a legacy. I just call that, fame. But after you're gone, what do you want to exist past you being here? And I've got a whole business plan mapped out to share with you guys. And I want to hear what you all have to say. And this could be as simple as, I have two simple answers, and then anybody who has bigger ambitions can go beyond this. But the two simple answers that I expect to hear is, somebody in chat probably tonight will say, I don't want to leave a legacy. I literally don't want to exist past my own life. Like, you're done living, and then you don't really want to be like remembered, memorialized, or existing, or like have a persistence afterwards. You're just good. You're good having, lived a relatively happy and normal and comfortable life, and you did some things you liked to do, and you crossed some bucket list items off before it was all done, and that's good enough. Legacy is not really on your bucket list or on your playlist of things to do. Or some of you might think, those of you who are like filthy, stinking breeders, just kidding. You might want to think, my legacy is literally just, I want to do right by my kids. If they do better than I did, if I can keep them out of therapy for the things that I'm generationally trying to hold back, that's enough. That I did it. I did the job. I made kids, and the kids are doing okay, and I didn't completely fuck that up. That might be enough. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, thanks for the info. I swear YouTube changes the UI every other month. I think YouTube is in a relatively good place with a lot of its services and features. I feel like the shorts part of YouTube is performing very well. That's where they're trying to put a lot of their revenue and attention right now. But their live experience is half-baked, and they're still working on making a full-fledged just support for their viewers. The one thing that YouTube does that I haven't seen in any other streaming platform, and believe me, I stream to 5.5 platforms, I should know this, right? Is YouTube has a really nice rewind the stream feature. If you missed something, you just want to go back, and then you want to catch up to live again after you've reviewed a part that's gone by. YouTube does this really, really nicely. It feels good. It looks good. And honestly, the AV on YouTube is like very nice compared to other people's encoders. So they do a great job there. They're just missing like the chat experience. When you're engaging with a content creator live, you probably, or some people probably want to be a part of the show. It's not an everybody thing. If you just go to see somebody live and you just want to be there to hear what they have to say, it's probably not that different from a VOD experience then, but some people do just like the experience of seeing somebody live, I guess, and not being in the chat. but more people, I think, feel encouraged or emboldened to participate, to be heard, for that chatter to read and react and comment with you in relatively real, sometimes some pauses. But the YouTube chat experience is so vapid compared to some others. Kick is pretty empty, but Kick does some other things that make me want to stay there, even though I know that they're not, they didn't start off with the strongest reputation. They got there eventually. But like the Twitch and the Trovo experiences in chat are so rich that that it really makes me sad that YouTube is where it's at. There are worse. I'm also on Instagram Live, and Instagram Live's chat features are like you can chat and you can put an emoji in. It's really, really vapid. But Instagram's also not really perceived as a live streaming platform. So while I'm there more to experiment with the format and see what happens when I do stream there versus me trying to create like an entire movement of thought in Instagram. I do have the functionality as of this week to stream to TikTok, which was barred from me for years, and now they're offering it. Makes you feel like they're a little bit desperate, right? No, it's probably a desperation thing, and not that I've grown so big sort of thing. I think it's desperation. So I might consider that in the near future, even though the TikTok family is changed. Their audience has changed. The platform's changed a bit. But I still want to join in that dumpster fire a bit. Yeah. We absolutely do. I'm going to try to sit down and do some editing practice this week for sure. You let me know. Chat me up whenever you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, questions, the whole shebang. Yeah. Happy to be a resource to you. We will also be in this. Final Fantasy 14. I'm going to be doing some dailies and maybe some other content here while we do our chat. But by and large, I want to really share with you the legacy, the whole shebang that I have to offer for perpetuity, and ask you, or pose the open question, what legacy do you want to leave behind after you're gone? Where am I with things in my inventory? I think I should probably try to sell stuff, but before we do that, let's just go down the list probably for all the roulettes. It's probably what I'm going to do tonight. I had to log into Final Fantasy 14 today to make sure my house doesn't get nuked. Ooh, yeah, please do not let it get nuked. I just haven't felt like playing lately. I mean, we're in a content lull, so I feel like a lot of people do have the experience that right now they don't have the real draw, the interest to pursue other endeavors. If there are things that you've left unattended or you're incomplete on, and they're in your wheelhouse, they're in your interests, then now's a good time to do that kind of stuff, since the content lull is there for anybody that's caught up to everything. If you're not caught up to everything, the content lull is only as well, it's not a lull anymore because you have stuff that you could get done. But I guess my point is, not everybody wants to do all that stuff. What is this person's outfit? This is a really strange. That's an interesting choice of outfits. Not everybody wants to do all the stuff that's out there. So even the new content, it's not all for everyone. I do feel like Dawn Trail is a little bit polarizing. Hello? Who's there? Oh, Risa. You gave a Prime sub. Thank you, by the way, for that. That happened while I was off camera, I believe. And it didn't register as your first chat of the night, so this one did. I do feel like while there is new content to be had, it's not for everybody. Some people do not particularly appreciate the new Dawn Trail stuff, and I don't blame them. I think Endwalker was pretty fantastic, and Shadowbringers was amazing, and Dawn Trail was maybe a little less so. Certainly interesting to me, but not to everybody. Not necessarily there for everyone. When I hear legacy, for me, the phrase "live fast, die young" comes to mind. To some people, that's, you know, if you don't live a long life, is that okay? I think some people think that's fine. They're not concerned about a longevous life. But even then, in a short amount of time, you could leave a very strong legacy. You know, I think I've also heard "live fast, die young, leave a good-looking corpse," which is to imply while you're young and attractive and popular, if you pass away then, maybe all of the stuff that you've been working on is has a good chance of going viral or in some way impacting the public at a higher level than what other people might be able to do because they're still alive and you're not. That's not necessarily the case all the time, but in some people's cases, it is beneficial to live to, say, 27. Does everybody know about the 27 Club? Many people seem to have made big fame, hit the age of 27, had their life come crashing down. And maybe because of, in part, the fact that they didn't continue to live on and maybe perform not as well or start a decline or just age and people followed their aging out. Maybe those people kept a certain notoriety or infamy or fame because of that. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, a number of people passed away at 27 and experienced intense amount of fame after having done so. That could be one way to leave a legacy, perhaps. Yeah. I find a lot of pride in what I do as a teacher. I want to be the teacher kids think and talk about when they are old. I love that. That's a high bar to have, because I feel like kids have so many teachers. You know, you have one per grade when you're in elementary school, and then as you go into junior high and high school, you have several per grade. And yeah, just trying to keep them all straight and remembering which ones have impacted you the most and all that. That's a lot. That's a lot. So to be the highest on the ranking of that, oof. Yeah. Reminiscing on this one topic. Sorry. Where did it go? Where did my chat go? Reminiscing on this one topic or assignment that changed their world. Love that. I have a few teachers like that, and I still think of them all the time and how they've inspired what I've become, even if I didn't know it at the time. I definitely remember those teachers. Some I used to regularly reach out to. I feel like the distance in time since my last reach out, I'd feel a little bit awkward reaching out to them again now. But I do still think of them and their impact. Some of them were immensely impactful on my trajectory. Not least of which my drama teacher in high school, who convinced me to be an entertainer, which is sort of what we're doing as a content creator, right? If it weren't for her, I do not think I would really have believed that doing anything in the field of entertainment would have been a viable career path. Not that I'm doing this as a viable career path yet, but it's in my interests to build that as part of my legacy, which we'll continue to talk about as tonight goes on. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Subs don't count as chats for some reason. For whatever reason. I don't know why. Don't forget Jim Morrison, the 27 Club member. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, Jim Morrison too. To the teacher in Twitch chat, that's a very admirable goal. That's a great Twilight Zone episode. Wait, there's a Twilight Zone episode about being a teacher that people remember? I don't remember that one. I've watched a lot of Twilight Zone in my day. I have a few heartwarming teacher tales from recent times. It's things they say and do that just really make teaching so rewarding. I love that. I'm really happy that you're in a field that fulfills you so deeply, that really emboldens you. That is something that my interest in growing this as a platform and making this the revenue source for our household. It's not about me finding the easy way out. In fact, I want to work harder at content creation than I have worked at a number of other jobs that I have worked in my past. So it's definitely not, hey, I want to just like play games and not do a real adult job. I do want to do an adult job, and I want to hire people, and I want to make this like a real legit big ass adult endeavor. That's in my interests. Which, you know, takes all the fun out of just like goofing around and playing video games all day, right? And like not talking about anything important, just being vapid and being fun and having a good time. That's not my MO. But I do see a rewarding path in front of me for the type of content and the type of brand that we want to build. One that is about optimization of lifestyle, critical thinking, keeping the brain active and engaged, and just really keeping people alive and not alive. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, yes, alive, but that doesn't mean what you all think it means in my brain. Keeping people awake and active in the things that they partake in, the political ideas, the philosophies, the religions, the day-to-day activities, when you make moral decisions, when you figure out what you want to do with your free time, when you decide whether you're stagnating or advancing in your life, how you make that choice and what directives do you want to guide yourself by in order to continue to grow and change in this world. That kind of stuff. That's what I want to be remembered for. That's what I really want to leave behind, at least in what I'm doing as live streams, as VODs. Also, it's been a long time since I've VODed, I know. I have one that is in scripted phase, and I'm looking to try to do the shots and get the time in front of the camera. I have to test the camera on 4K because I haven't done that yet. There's a whole bunch of stuff like in my way to get it up on YouTube, but it's in my interest to do so. But yeah, I want to in part leave a legacy of helping people think differently and be more actively living their lives and engaged in thought and change and growth, lifelong growth. That's part of it. Episode is Changing of the Guard, and it stars Donald Pleasance? Who's Donald Pleasance? I don't recognize that name. It's probably somebody that doesn't act or anything anymore, or didn't do anything besides that one Twilight Zone. Watch, I'm saying that, but it's like somebody super famous, and I just don't know their name. Could be. I want to give this card to you. I used to teach in a number of different ways, even when I was working service, blue collar, generally in food and beverage industry. I was still doing tutoring on the side to make extra money to make ends meet. So that was a big component of just my welfare and well-being. And I really did love the helping people understand stuff that they weren't grasping from their teachers. So much institutionalized learning is really taught by people that maybe don't know much about instructional design or how to get ideas across into people's minds, how to sort of form or grow a person into what they want to be. It's one thing to be a subject matter expert and get into teaching because of that. And I've met, especially at the university level, plenty of those people. People who they're so good at what they do, somebody along the way was convinced, or maybe that person themselves was convinced that they could be a teacher because they know so much. But I know firsthand many people who are great experts, fantastic at what they do, know everything back and forth about their given subject, but they don't know how to impart that knowledge into other people's minds. That's a different skill set. If you have both skill sets, you're golden. You are both the subject matter expert in a given field, and you're also a fantastic teacher that will help other people level up in their knowledge of that. But I find by and large, people who are incredibly adept at something do not know how to impart that information into other people's heads in any meaningful way. And so I do not consider them teachers. I don't consider them a valuable resource. I just consider them helpful because of what they can do, but not much more than that. They can't ripple. They can't grow. They can't make their knowledge into a cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? They can't hand that stuff off, right? I actually just started teaching with a youth martial arts program. It's rewarding. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Need someone back on the platform, please. Because they're not, the next group over is not able to engage. There we are. Now we have it. So what martial arts are you teaching? I'm curious. I studied an ample, a wide array of martial arts, which is to say I was good at studying martial arts, but I was bad at sticking with a martial art. And therefore, I never got fantastic at any particular art form, except I would say I studied more Tai Chi than people probably realize they could do in their lives, or that is anything more than old people moving very slowly in a park for back and spine health. I was studying Tai Chi as a martial art for 4 years. Yeah, and was one of their, I would argue, one of the star students. Yeah. But I really want to get my girls into martial arts, not least of which females, whether they choose to procreate or not, have a higher risk of bone density issues later on in life. And naturally, if you decide you want to be a procreator, that really furthers further hurts your situation there. You can really have significant bone loss problems later on in life if you're not cautious. But I hear impact exercise, whether that's an organized sport or something like a martial art, really help with that. That's my understanding. So I don't know what they'd want to do. And in fact, I don't want to choose for them. I want them to organically find something that's meaningful to them. But I do want them to be involved in something that will help their overall health in that regard. I want to do more Tai Chi. It's amazing at the higher levels. If you really want to pursue it as a martial art form, it's pretty fantastic. I would argue in some ways it's inferior to actual street fighting, but in other ways it can really, what's the word? Hey, what's up, Akumusato? What's good? In some ways it has given me a different skill set that nobody is accustomed to. And when people aren't accustomed to something, when you're in the middle of a conflict, and I've never been in like a personally like a major fight or anything like this. So I'm mostly speaking just from goofing around with friends, having people try to like mess with me just to mess with me, not anything meaningfully like seriously negative. I don't have negative interactions in my day-to-day life. I don't make enemies, and I don't have people trying to like step up to me or whatever. I don't live that life. But what little interactions I have in that space, mostly just for funsies, Tai Chi, especially the art forms that I've learned, which are more one-on-one combative sort of style, has been really advantageous in its own sort of way. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I know Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know the word Gracie, though. Specifically self-defense oriented style? Nice. I've heard good things about Tai Chi, but at this point I'm stretched too thin to commit to another. I don't blame you. Yeah. Once you've committed to one, that's pretty much as far as most people can stretch, I think. Doing more than that is a challenge for just about everybody. Whoa, baby. Why are all three Vasagos, are these things called? Why are they all touching? Why is everybody hugging? I don't want this. Yeah, Tai Chi has been fantastic. I've always also wanted to learn Jiu-Jitsu. It's something that I wanted to possibly show the girls to see if it would be an interest in theirs. We do have, like, extracurriculars are not cheap, right? Anybody who has kids that have tried to put them through or fund them through anything knows it's not an easy endeavor to push kids into that kind of stuff after school, and the costs involved in all of that. But it's in my interest to try to make it happen as best as I can. Where can I reach this person? They're in the wrong. I'm not going to heal them. I'm not even going to bother trying to heal that person when they're not even in the right group. They should know better. They should see where we all are and know where they're allowed to stand versus not. Yeah. Heard some excellent things. We also have a Taekwondo gym not too far from our place. I haven't really looked into all the martial arts. I know there's some gymnastics classes near here. There's a really great dance academy as well, which we put the Tiny through this last year. But she sort of started to nope out near the end. So I don't know, now that she's just turned a year older, if that's going to be in her interests again, or if she's kind of aged out of that idea and has a different plan in mind instead. Again, we're not prescriptive parents. We don't really want to put anything on their plates. We want them to sort of decide based on their passion points what they feel is going to be the thing that brings them joy the most. Because once you have joy in what you're pursuing, everything else sort of clicks into place, right? That part's easy. It's very easy to decide, hey, I feel very strongly, I feel a big love in this direction. Therefore, I will excel at it. If you do not excel, the love is, if you do not love, the excel is not necessarily there. I only did great at things that I was particularly passionate about. If I couldn't find the passion, I dropped out of them easily and without regret. Even if they were critical to my future success. Like in some cases, like history and science and other endeavors that are generally mandatory in most curricula, I found a hard time continuing forward with or finding any level of success in because I couldn't find the passion for it. And so we really want to at least initially guide the girls in terms of where their passion might lie. The Gracies, I hope I'm reading that name right, are a Brazilian family, because now I feel like if it's Brazilian, I'm not pronouncing it right. Brazilian family who modified Japanese jiu-jitsu, first came about in the 20s and 30s. Oh, interesting. was spread to the US in the 80s, focuses strictly on self-defense and street fight situations. I like that. I've definitely seen a lot of martial arts debunking videos where a number of people have put forth the stuff that you see on, I don't know, like highlights reels for a given dojo. Like, look at the master of this dojo. Watch them like bat hands away from people and like manipulate, and they just like grab a finger and twist, and that guy just falls to the ground. And a lot of that stuff got debunked, right? When you really get in a real street fight with somebody, or when somebody's literally trying to hurt you, all that kind of stuff that you feel like you can do goes out the window. And I learned this, unfortunately, firsthand, well before those debunked videos were released. I remember I took Aikido pretty seriously and for a while in depth, because I thought Aikido was it for me. I don't know where I got the idea. I can't remember exactly when I was sold that it was Aikido or nothing, but for a season of my life, I was on the Aikido train. This was before I learned about Tai Chi, and since then I've really been converted to Tai Chi as sort of like surprisingly effective, but I think mostly because of the element of surprise. Like, people don't believe that you should move the way Tai Chi teaches you to move, and that's confusing and alarming for people that are trying to get in a fight with you. Again, I've only been in play fights, really, just with friends, so I also don't know if it's as effective as I think it is, but it's at least effective enough that the people that were trying to not be bamboozled by my Tai Chi were still bamboozled. Yeah. But things like Aikido, unfortunately, were remarkably useless when challenged by friends who were really trying to see if what I was learning was worthwhile in any way. And yeah, the fact of it is that as much as you get taught a certain way by your sensei, when you really get in a real street fight situation, or a fake street fight situation like I was placed in a few times, when somebody really tries and they're not a genuine uke for you, or what's a good word for uke? Like a receiver of your specialized work, right? Like you grab their forearm, you twist, you lift, and you got them locked, and then you walk them down and you place their face down on the ground, and then they tap out because the pain is so much. That's what an uke is, right? Anytime you see a martial arts highlight video and you see somebody receiving pain or being manipulated in some sort of way by the sensei of that dojo, they're like the person that is the fall guy, the recipient. That's the uke in Japanese. As soon as I tried to make my friends or people who are willing to test my Aikido as a living uke and not just as a sensei trained, this is how you should move uke, I realized that Aikido is not nearly as useful as purported. When you know what you're supposed to do as the fall guy, and you say, okay, this person's doing this move on me, then I have to react in this way. Because the sensei generally teaches you, if you don't uke correctly, if you don't move the way that you're supposed to as the recipient of this move, they could break your wrist. They could dislocate your shoulder. They could push you down to the ground, and then you'll hurt, you'll fall and you'll hurt yourself, sort of thing. So you need to follow them. You need to follow their energy and let them do what they're trying to do so that you don't get seriously hurt. That's sort of like the myth that they purport. But in reality, if you resist, there's a whole bunch of Aikido moves specifically, and I don't know if this is true for other martial arts. Well, hello, Cody.
Comrade is the mail.
Thank you for the self-care. There's a bunch of forms and locks and takedowns that don't work if you actually object. if you use your body and you just say, you know, somebody's grabbed your arm, they're starting to twist, and they're going to twist so that they can lock, so that they can push you down, and you just say, no, I don't accept your twist, and you just fight them. They have to have some sort of physical strength component over you. There's a lot of martial arts that teach you, get the leverage, you know, if you hold them just right, if you squish the right, you know, you hit the right pressure point, you squeeze that nerve, or you push in just the right way. You know, if somebody reels back for a punch and you catch them right there, so then they can't push forward because their hand's all the way back here. All these little things that they teach you. If you're really fighting somebody who has a higher level of strength than you or just out weight classes you, a lot of that stuff falls to the floor. It really does not connect up the way you would expect it to, or the way you were taught to. Yeah. I relate to what you're saying about passion. I can't force myself to care about a given subject or task or whatever. If I'm passionate about it, I'll pour all I can into it. I think that's it. Really, if you can activate passion in somebody, then they're guaranteed to succeed. If you can't, there's still some things that I think are mandatory. Like, we all have to learn something about finance, right? We live, especially in the West and especially in the US, we live in a society that's that functions within fiscal management. You have to know how to manage your money. You have to avoid a lot of pitfalls. In the US, the amount of predatory companies out there that are looking for ways to leverage your money against you so that they can get a profit off of you is vast. So you need to know some things about finance, and maybe you don't love finance, but if you're not careful, if you don't find the means to learn that kind of stuff, passion or not, you'll end up getting exploited in some way. So some things need to be learned, passion or not, but most of the stuff that we will probably be our strongest at when we become adults is related to our passions, is related to what really lights us up, right? Absolutely. I trained with a guy who used to do Aikido. He's now very critical of it. Same. But there were a few things he could apply to Jiu-Jitsu. Not enough to justify training in it, though. No, I do feel like that was sort of a bit of a wasted time, except that I did learn, or I was sort of like black-pilled away from traditional martial arts. And now I learned that really just surviving and especially escaping from a street fight is probably some of the best stuff you can experience in formalized martial arts. That and sort of like the confidence and the body training and that sort of thing as well. But when it comes to like your effectiveness in a really real physical confrontation, more about how to leverage the situation in your favor so that you can escape ASAP, and not so much about using samurai sword forms and hand motions to try to take down people by redirecting their energy through Aikido's lens. Yeah. The thing about following their energy is true. Yeah, it is. And Tai Chi teaches that too. So I'm not going to ignore that part of it, right? The problem is that the setups are unrealistic, 100%. That's what's great about Jiu-Jitsu. It's the same principle, but with realistic setups, which I like. I do appreciate that. I did Shotokan Karate when I was a kid, but after I was held back a belt because... oh, I found a toady. Hello, Toady. After I was held back a belt because older siblings should be a higher belt than younger siblings? What? First of all, the whole, like, belt thing, you know, is like a contrivance, right? It's like an American... Anyway. Belt thing's not a big deal, but that's really stupid. I dropped out. It killed my interest in it entirely. Honestly, there's a motivating factor in it, and if they kill your motivation by putting unfair and unrealistic constraints down for that, that's dumb, and I hate that. Let me take a quick bio break, and we will come back to more of the same. All right, right back. No guilds. No builds.
No guilds, no builds.
Not much 411.
Oh,
What?
a directory.
What do we see? Oh, how did you meet me? What's our backstory? You met me on the road to Markarth. Markarth. I was headed there because
I'm a former
I'm a
Sue.
former Sue.
Yeah,
Ugh.
former head chef.
I'm Yeti.
I'm Yeti.
I'm not sure how we go about.
Damien, look what I found.
Jeez, what? It's a doge.
I'm gonna drop him off the side of the boat.
All right. Such is the fate of all doge.
Not even a satisfying splash.
Lame.
Boo.
Well, do we want to try locating some of these shrines and treasuries and see if
He's peeing on the boat.
Lovely.
Whoops.
Mars. Did you
Hey,
not?
don't blame.
Did you not train your dog?
My.
Alright, thanks, Phil.
I hope you have a good one.
Hell in the hell.
Here to be a menace. You're doing a good job. You killed me. You see what you did? To that guy in Twitch chat, that's an awful dojo. Yeah. I also trained Shotokan. My sensei would never do anything like that. It's just such a, I mean, first of all, belting, the whole belt system, it's such a weird contrivance, just something to sort of like motivate and encourage people in a certain direction and make them feel like they're making a certain type of progress that would otherwise not have been in the original like classical schools, right? And then on top of that, to then say, in addition to that contrivance, we're also going to say you're going to demoralize older siblings if they feel like you're outpacing them, instead of the truth, which is probably like if I had a younger sibling, which I don't, I'm the youngest out of my family, but if I did and something happened where one of them was starting to outpace me in something, I'd be livid. I'd be like, oh no, you don't. Like I would light up and try to beat them in every way possible to I don't know, to one up them. One wouldn't allow them to proceed forward with that. Hey Toady, do you want to be in on any duty roulettes or do you care? Should I just solo queue? Up to you. You're welcome to join or not at your leisure. Yeah, I think it's dumb. You'll join? Cool. You're expert queued. Not yet. Once you join. Except it looks like we might both be healer, which is fine. I can switch to black mage. Oh, I forgot. I have white on. I'm a black mage with white clothes on part of my outfit. Don't like it. I don't like it. Uh-oh, you switched. Now you're DPS. All right, I'll go back to Astro. It's fine. Oh, you can't do expert? Okay, we'll skip that one. We'll do that one later. Kit! Hi and welcome. What legacy besides your kids? You can't answer that one because it's, I don't know. It's too obvious. Oh, you also cannot do level cap? Is there... You're 100. Oh, gear score, perhaps, as black mage. Level cap's gonna either expert or cap. Okay, that's fine. We'll move down the line. High level dungeon it is. Instant queue. Thank you for the instant queue. Without answering your kids. No, I'm just kidding. You can actually answer your kids. What sort of legacy do you want to leave behind well after you are gone? Also, the Weso Punny channel, which I believe is now following me on Twitch, is where you can find Kit doing content creation. Good stuff.
I'm not even gonna tell you. Nope, didn't do that thing. I did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Did nothing sounds awfully sus to me. Oh my. I remember this. I spent way too many hours doing this particular content, to be perfectly honest. I probably should have spent less time in this particular dungeon than I did, now that it's old and defunct and who cares. At the time, I thought it was so important for me to run this particular dungeon so many times over. Meaningful to my life, the meaning of my existence. I totally did something. Yeah, you did. I think I accidentally burned the item we needed in the fire. Oh no. I mean, I didn't see it happen. The clip didn't show any evidence, so I'm pretty sure you're innocent. Looked innocent to me. Anyways, please go check out Weso Penny. Send your love, your subs, your firstborn children. Probably not that. I think Kit has enough of their own, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we're talking about leaving behind legacies this evening. And the legacy that I'm most interested in leaving behind is one of creativity. I have so many different separate creative avenues that I do want to embark on. And my intent is when I start getting closer to or ready for full-time content. Oh, damn. Some of you are not going to hear the rest of that sentence because we just switched to Twitch ads. I'll just say for those of you that paid to do ad skipping that it is in my interest to do so much with content creation. Like a massive amount of work that would be foundational to sort of like a core brand that I want to create, but also more than just the core, a lot of like side project kind of stuff, things that would involve a lot of extra people engaged with helping me out. I want to be a job maker, and we'll get into the specifics of this tonight. I do want to be a job maker. I have a lot of ideas in mind that I can't bring to fruition myself. And so I am looking for talented individuals in my future to overpay in the industry, because I also feel like companies out there are constantly devaluing us for what we're capable of doing, for our contributions compared to anybody else in the industry. And so I want to become an overpayer. Oh God, we're going back the other way. Okay. And I want to get some real talented people together to do some really different creative ideas that I have in mind that I'm hoping will be well received. Stuff that I'm guessing has never been seen before. And if it's never been seen before, I hope it is also really interesting. Because there's plenty of ideas out there that's like, no one's ever tried this before, but the reason why no one's ever tried this before is because it sucks. And I am personally very antagonistic toward anything having my name on it that would be perceived as inferior product, because we live in an era where the internet lets everything we've ever done live on for perpetuity, right? So long after I pass away, all of my content, my channel, and everything will still be active, I presume. As far as I know, YouTube doesn't just go and decommission people's information online, right? Like you will have that stuff online forever, I believe. And if you have that stuff online forever, then it better be good stuff. That's all I can think. It better be good. Because you could be judged well after you're dead. Not that it really matters once you're dead, but once you're dead, you also can't change your own reputation. So you better have some good stuff out there that you know, brings honor and maybe additional revenue to your family. That's the other thing too, is like, I don't know if people realize this. I don't know how many really old people are on YouTube, but if you pass away and your AdSense account could just be transferred to a different bank account, wouldn't you do that for somebody else so that any views you generated on your old stuff, if it was like a tutorial on how to change your dentures or whatever the fuck you want to do when you're old, wouldn't you want that money to keep going to somebody you very much cared about? I would. I don't know why I mentioned dentures. That seems so ageist of me. I'm sorry. I'm probably not that far from dentures. No, I'm just kidding. I hope I'm far off from dentures. All I want to be in life is far away from having to wear dentures. There's more fight to be had here, right? So I should set down my stellar detonation thing. Hello? Who is there? Sometimes I answer the phone, hello, because it's just funny and it's like what my friends all sort of do and say. And somebody put me on blast. They're like, you sound like you don't want to actually talk to me. Hello? That doesn't sound like you want to chat. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it seem like I didn't want to talk. I thought it was just funny. But they felt, like, I don't know, skeeved out. Like, you shouldn't talk to me that way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Didn't mean to make anybody feel awkward or bad. Belting is more a thing to streamline / timeline training. You can't throw a new student into an advanced class. Sure. Belt levels are there to ensure that the fundamentals are really instilled. Was that really an issue before belts, though? That's the thing that I kind of don't understand is if belts weren't originally a part of the process of classical schools, then was it to fix problems? Because I always perceived it as not fixing a problem, but just sort of motivating people in a sort of participation trophy kind of way, if that makes sense. Did you see my TikTok on my Bridget Blackwood profile of the Haunted TV? I did not. I haven't been on TikTok as a as audience in a while. I'll have to take a look. Oh dear. Where is this coming? Right there. Run. This was a good fight. The having to view your peripherals sort of thing. I don't remember if it happened before Gimlet Dark or what. But to have it here was it was kind of an interesting and refreshing take on the various mechanics for fights. This game might take some flack for having some components that feel reused or recycled often in various expansions. But one thing they do really well is they make a lot of boss fights feel quite novel. And for how many boss fights there are, there's usually 3 per dungeon. And that's in the full-size dungeon ones. Then there's also the trial fights. And then normal raids usually have at least 1 boss. There's a lot. There's a lot of different boss stuff going on in this game. To make all of them feel different is impressive. That's a lot of different ideas thrown around in a game whose mechanics are not particularly... Hello? Chihuahua.
I just subscribed. Oh my gosh. My goodness. Oh lordy. Wow.
32 months. We're so close to 3 years on the record. I know we're well past 3 years, I believe, in real life. Because I think before you started subbing, you were a friend of stream for quite some time. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. But yeah, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out after stream. If somebody reminds me to, I definitely will. For those who come after, Gustav, what are we talking about? Who's Gustav? Wait, where's the way down? It's this way, yeah? Can we leave? We don't need to fight this guy right here, do we? Okay, we're just going to stand here and fight this guy. I don't really got a life plan or anything. I want to live. I like that. I do lots of things and I want to have stories to tell. Would you want those stories to persist after you're gone? Because that, I think, would be closer to what I would perceive as a legacy. Having your own stories to tell while you're still alive is one thing. Having stories, the people whose lives you affected, that they would tell about you, now that's a legacy. When I'm gone, I hope people will say he was an interesting guy. I'll miss him. That's nice. That's a pretty good goal, I'd say. In Shotokan, there was always a progression system. It's just simplified over the years. Oh, gotcha. Was it something different than belts before? I'm trying to think where I got the idea that belts were sort of a newer idea and that they were sort of like a... I was always taught that they were sort of an inferior kind of concept. Like, oh, that's just there to help people feel special when you don't actually need that kind of stuff in your life. But maybe that was just some elitism coming through when people were telling me about that. I've not played the DPS in a minute. My rest is showing. Actually, it's not. You're doing pretty fantastically, to be perfectly honest. Not that I would know, but if I did know something like that, I would say you're doing a great job as a DPS. And I would say, if I knew this for a fact, that compared to some other guild members, that you're doing really well as deeps, I would probably say that kind of stuff. If I knew for sure. Not that I do, because that's against TOS to know that kind of stuff. In Final Fantasy, you're not allowed to know anything about people's damage outputs, except in your heart of hearts. So, just speaking from my heart of hearts, perhaps. For the record, for anybody that's, that knows me in Final Fantasy. Gustav is a character from Claire. Oh, okay. I don't know that stuff. It's too new of a game to reference. It's a game I know people have told me to play, but how many days am I actually online streaming? And then out of those days that I'm online streaming, how many of those days have I started on time recently? I know you all know the answer. Unfortunately, I would love to start on time. I am a punctual person who, when I see the start of my stream time coming, I give myself ample time beforehand to get ready. But I'm not the only person in consideration in this household. So I do have to take care of some poor sicky people who have been feeling really unwell and want to make sure that they're all doing great and that I support them every which way, make sure we have all of our needs met. Tonight I went to the grocery store when I should have been streaming to get latex gloves, turmeric, and ginger. And I think something else, all because, the things that you do for somebody who's not feeling well to make sure that that everything's going to be all right and they've got all the tools for their success and well-being that they need. That's my ambition. Are we gonna tap out yet? Man, your cutscene's taking a good long time. At least for my dojo, belts determined what new things you would learn. I like the idea of having belts be more about like how you... Hello, Jam. How you progress through an art and less about like what you're good at. Oh no. Oof, dodge that. Everybody could use some heals, Damien. Who's the healer here after all? This was such a great soundtrack. This is from Stormblood. This was a really fantastic. I think it was a really good expansion. It wasn't one that I thematically liked the narrative of. But that said, narrative isn't necessarily everything. The world building and the way this fit into the existing themes and storyline, I think the Stormblood expansion was very strong and probably netted in a lot of new subscribers. I don't really have any goals for legacies. Okay. Oof, oof, oof. But I have several that happened as a result of choices that I'm sure will persist beyond my lifespan. I think you told me about one of those. I don't know if that's stream appropriate to talk about, but I think I know about one. Okay, these both have to die relatively near to each other, or everybody succumbs to a lot of damage. Nice. Well done. I suppose I'm covered. I suppose you are. Oh, I can't read that. I actually have that item? Why do I have some of these items? Oh, maybe it was something that dropped earlier on. I'm garbage. You are absolutely not. Absolutely not. Way back when Shotokan first came out, students trained through trial and error, and when they were deemed ready, they'd be shown top-level techniques. Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me too. So even if you didn't have the belts, that at least sort of sounds like its own informal organization for learning different things. This feels like a Rude and Reno fight. A little bit. Did you read about the woman who killed herself with turmeric? Turmeric overdose? No, I had not read that. I don't believe Oz will OD on turmeric. At least she better not. Or I'm gonna be really mad at her ghost, I think. Maybe I should shake off my Dark Knight rust. Sure, if you want. It's up to you. I will be your healer, so you don't have to worry about a rando trying to heal you up. And if anybody's going to heal you while you're rusty, it might as well be somebody who's really good at their particular healing job. When I studied martial arts, the belts were an indication of proficiency and skill, which of course then leads to what forms or moves you would learn. I suppose so. Maybe what I've learned really was sort of an elitist narrative and not really indicative of what the belt system was. Because I've heard that people have said that belts were a later fabrication in order to make people feel better, and that they weren't originally part of the classical way of training, that you wouldn't keep getting belt as a sense of accomplishment as you came around, or a way of being able to gloat about where you were in your training. The innovations I just mentioned were pioneered by the legendary Hidetaka Nishiyama, who also contributed to Shotokan's spread to the Western world. Oh, gotcha. Going for something simple, being a published writer alone ensures I'm somewhere after I'm toast. You're a published writer? Maybe I haven't spoken to you on that particular front. Interesting. Good stuff. I think the other platforms aren't showing in your on-stream chat window again. Son of a... let's see. Let me... Toady, hang on. I will bring us up to the next thing. Let's see. First of all, did Instagram die already? You betcha. You betcha. Kick, I think, was already up and running, but let me just send a quick test and be sure of that. I can see my test. And then Trovo would be the other tricky thing. I saw somebody chat in Trovo. Yeah, Trovo seems to be working. Okay, so I'm doing okay. Instagram died after 1 hour. That's just what seems to happen to Instagram these days. I can't stop that from happening. Yeah. Now, why it might not be showing up on stream, I don't know. I don't know how to fix or change that right now. Due to the concentration of turmeric she ingested? Oof. How much? Like, was it seemingly a benign amount, or was it obvious that she overdid it? As it came to the west, the progress system needed to be adapted due to extreme cultural differences. So belting really is kind of like like a Western philosophy sort of thing. Didn't need to be there necessarily originally. And that's when the widely known belt system became what it is today. Try my best not to give you a heart attack. You're fine. If you die, I'll just res you. Not a big deal. Someday we could be banned books. Yeah. Kit might be a banned book. From what I understand, you write some somewhat spicy content, right? Spicy could be banned at some point in your future. Japanese dojos have taken up a similar system. Oh, cool. But it's more in tune with its feudal roots. Interesting. Maybe now I have a legacy goal? Oh, to get banned. Nice. Let me know if you want to run exits, so I adjust accordingly. We'll just go down the list. So after high level dungeons, we'll go into leveling. If you've got a job you want to level, cool. Doesn't have to be Dark Knight, but yeah, leveling will be next. I don't know how to explain the legacy I want to leave behind. Personal peace? Personal peace? Like peace emanating from you, or just that you yourself want to live the rest of your life peacefully and have people know that sort of thing? I guess my curiosity. Queuing for leveling. Instant queue. Oh, you just... Are you sure? Crap. Sorry. You want to withdraw? I mean, it's up to you. Accepting the things you can't change and working on the things you can. None of that has to be so busy and bothered. I don't make sense. No, that makes sense. I mean, I guess the question is, do you want it to be something that ripples out to other people? Or do you just want people to remember you as being peaceful? I suppose we don't need to fight these, but most people usually fight this first encounter. Do I have an AoE or am I too little? I'm too little. Man, that's the rub about leveling roulettes. My bad, I guess she nearly died. She was hospitalized. Oof. Hospitalized for turmeric, of all things. That's rough. So she's still alive and well seasoned. Yes. Alive and tasty. If anybody should happen to taste her internals, her meat is probably well seasoned by now. Don't forget to get those bees first. The bees have final sting, and they will use it on you if you leave them alive for too long. I'm a bee. She recognized her symptoms in the patient interviewed. I'm not sure I understand that part. Recognized her symptoms in the patient interviewed. Robert Grafton, who was also taking the same high dose of turmeric pills, 2250 milligrams. That feels like something that you would do for like a supplement of a vitamin, right? And even then, only certain vitamins allow you to take that kind of supplementation, right? So if you're taking vitamin E or vitamin A, you can't take that many milligrams because that kind of stuff is it's fat soluble, which means it will also like build up in your fat cells and could cause toxicity. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I've learned, believe me, I've learned a lot of wrong stuff that I'm trying to deprogram in the last few years of my life. But as I understand it, water-soluble vitamins are things that you can take on high-level milligrams like that. And if it's not water-soluble, and I don't know what turmeric's considered because it's not really a vitamin, right? It's just like an herb. Then I don't know if it's the right thing to do to take that. Not at that kind of high level. Vitamin C is one of those that I know to be water soluble. Like you can take all the vitamin C that your body can handle and then keep going. And if you keep going, nothing happens to you because it just flushes out of your system. And in fact, this is the main principle behind why people who eat like lots of fruit, like if you're ever a kid and you lived on a farm like I did and had fruit trees around, you could, with the fruit trees around, eat plenty of fruit and then have horrible, horrible shits for at least a day, maybe longer. And if that happens to you, it's not because fruit is an awful thing for your body. You've just had so much vitamin C, probably, I think it's a vitamin C thing, that your body starts to expel it. And as your body starts to expel it, it comes out in the form of horrible poop times. All right, let's get those bees. For a woman weighing 150 pounds, that would be about 200 milligrams of turmeric daily. Same dose of... You mean like 200 milligrams? Oh, to be like the equivalent of what that guy weighed? Is that what you were saying? 250? I'm not quite sure what the math is there. I was frequently getting your book banned, and the current state of book banning is a compliment that outstrips the most awards at this point. You're not wrong there. There's some ways that if you're getting banned, what that means as far as what you stand for and what you're trying to bring into this culture is it's kind of an honor, right? At this point in cultural history. So you're taking about 11 times normal dose? Jeez. That's insane to me. Absolutely crazy amounts. And you have to wonder why. Like, other people around probably had some sort of guidance. Like, is it somebody who just follows their heart? I do know a lot of people that in this day and age, when you can literally pull out your phone, choose your smart assistant, AI, whatever it is that you want to do, whoever you want to believe, whatever source of truth you decide is the right source of truth. You go and you find that source of truth's answer to something. Don't use your heart. Why not use your heart? Because the world is full of non-common sense, right? Ideas that defy our natural process of logic. The world is not made to be reasoned by the rational mind. We can't just think about a problem and come to the truth in everything that we encounter. Our life is not built that way. So why would you ever trust that? Don't. The point is don't. Don't trust that. Go find your smart assistant, whatever that happens to be, whatever AI or search engine you trust, and do not overdose on turmeric. It was very serious, says Dr. Nikolaos Persipoulos, a hepatologist. A hepatologist? Isn't a hepatologist a... Are you reading me like an AI fabricated news story? Isn't a... Wait, no. Oh, for some reason I thought a hepatologist might be like somebody who studies snakes for some reason. No, I think it's somebody who studies the liver, now that I think about it for a hot second. My apologies. It took like a half a second for me to realize, D, your Latin is like doing weird stuff. What's somebody who studies snakes? Why did I feel for a hot second, and only a second, that somebody who studies the liver was somebody who studies snakes? Tell me I'm not like losing my mind and that I actually had a reasonable, rational thought in this direction, and that the two words are somewhat easy to conflate, and that I'm not just losing my mind. Anyway, Katie actually was one step before full liver damage, liver failure requiring liver transplant. Jeez. Insane. At some point, you have to concede defeat. Admit that you were wrong about the... Or, like, what happened? Was she feeling so bad and didn't put two and two together that was maybe the turmeric that she was taking too much of? I'm going to tell Oz, don't be like Katie. I'm just kidding. She probably won't. She knows better. She won't just take turmeric on her own. She'll look up a recipe of, you know, what to do. I'm sure. That's one even I haven't imagined hospitalized by the spice rack. Who knows a good Dune spice quote that they can apply right here? I don't know the Dune franchise well enough to start quoting stuff. Oh god. Toadie's gonna die if I don't do something. Maybe I should actually heal. Just kidding. I want my kids and their kids, etc., to beat the anxiety and depression inherent to our or in our family line. That's a lofty goal. I love that. I feel like there's some significant family sickness in my bloodline as well that I would love to see erased. If I could bar that from my kids, that'd be fantastic. And it does help that I have older siblings, so I've already seen sort of like how their kids have developed and where their grievances are. And so when I listen to my nieces and nephews talk about like, oh, I just wish this had happened or this was this way or whatever, I'm taking notes because I'm like, okay, well, you're basically an adult now, given the age gap between my sisters and me. So like, how do I take that information and apply it to my family, my nuclear family? How do I make my kids have a better outcome based on what I'm hearing from, not that I am my sisters, but it helps me understand and identify potential situations within me. 100%. For the Twitch chat, I'd recommend trying self-publishing. The traditional publishing industry is a bad place right now, to put it lightly. Does self-publishing net? I know it couldn't possibly net the same type of rewarding, but is it like viable? I feel like I'm the sort of person who could write a book, and so I'm just trying to understand if it's possible to make decent revenue for the time spent, for the amount of time it requires to write a book. Is it worth doing so and then self-publishing? That's my question. Oh, I don't want that. Thank you. Oh, I don't have that heal. Holy crap. God, what level are we? 37? I'm missing so many skills. That's awful. The farm I grew up on didn't grow that fruit often. We had animals, though. Maybe a regional thing. Wait, what fruit? Those are herps. I get it. Oh, herpetologist. See? They were close, right? I'm not completely losing my mind. What was the other word? Hepatologist? Hepatologist, herpetologist. I'm one letter off. My brain does know how to organize stuff with alphabetical accuracy. Just being one letter off really is not that dire in my opinion. I feel like I did a pretty good job mapping those in my brain. This fight's very different, yeah? This didn't used to be this way. Everybody else is going to kill theirs before I kill mine. So slow as a astrologian in doing DPS checks. Funny looks when I say I love my herps. Nice. She recognized her symptoms and reports she read about another guy who OD'd. Gotcha. So she did her work. Good. He who controls the spice controls the universe. Or at least controls your own livelihood, right? Oof. Scary stuff. Controls your own mortality. The spice must flow. Yikes. That one's a dangerous quote when you're talking about OD. My Dune fandom buddy. Yeah. I figured Troa and Jam would know these things. The spice extends life. Not this one. The spice expands consciousness. The spice is vital to space travel. I wonder how much of that is true for turmeric. Do you guys think turmeric could be a future spice? I can't tell if that went well or not. You did great. Again, you did great. Hi, Kara. Hello, hello. Before I queue, let me catch up with chat, Toadie. I've learned a lot about the publishing process with self-publishing, and that was its own reward. You have to market a lot on your own. I don't market much these days, but I make sales here and there. Well, that's good. I also have a project I'm working on for traditional market, but that's for a far future. So yeah, and what I was saying near the beginning of the stream is that's in my wheelhouse too. I have ideas, I have passion projects that I do want to get done, and we'll talk about those tonight. Probably after we finish these duty roulettes. But I'm not objecting to selling out a bit, to putting forth a good foot forward to say these things are going to be commercially viable, mass appeal, viral projects that I'm going to try to do in order to get the foothold so that I can gain the right momentum to focus on my passion projects, the things that I really care the most about. I don't think there's a problem selling out as long as you hold true to a core philosophy. And the best way to do that, like I'm doing tonight, is to vocalize that, to say, I have guiding principles. Here's what they are. Hold me accountable. Make sure I return back to them. If I start making good money and I'm like, oh, I'll just keep doing viral Mr. Beast sort of bullshit, then let me know that I've, fallen from grace and that it's time to go back to my roots or whatever it takes, But that kind of stuff, at least to me, matters. Yeah, 100%. I'm the oldest kid, both immediate and extended family. I was the guinea pig for learning how to parent. Oof. But I was also allotted a certain freedom that my younger cousins didn't have. That's nice. I guess being firstborn, yeah, you do get a lot of responsibility and you do get a lot of like trial and error. But yes, you can also achieve freedom and autonomy and trust, I think, sooner than everybody else. Yeah. Plants need the waters. All right, Tra. Indubitably. Do you guys know who Benito is? What's his last name? Benito on TikTok? The guy that makes other people's recipes. It's such, what an amazing, lovely way to create content. I'm not going to steal it, but literally this guy, he on his living room coffee table sits there and makes he doesn't sit on the coffee. He sits on the couch by the coffee table and he makes other TikTokers recipes. He doesn't even make his own recipes. He makes other recipes and reacts to them. God, Benito, you're so smart. What a genius content creator, bastard. Wish I had thought of that first. But I'm not like a big chef, at least not yet. But I want to be. And he's the guy who says indubitably. If you just look indubitably and food on TikTok, you'll find who I'm talking about. Benito. Yeah. Who knew it would take me my 30s to be into spicy. Yeah. I can't tell if that went well or not. Oh, yeah, we already read that. Sorry. So for Discourse, I'd like to at least have a full completed game. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And you've already been working on like game sprints and participating in contests and everything, right? Fully completed game made before I die, even if it isn't great. Something more than game jam level stuff. Yeah, game jam, I feel like the time limits on those really mean you can get just like sort of a basic concept or like a gimmick game. Like your game is sort of like one concept. That concept is, run to the right. And then you might add like one or two extra features besides that. Like also can jump on enemies and also can break the ground or whatever. And then you're done. That's about all you can do. There isn't a whole lot you can do in a game jam, but at least gets your skills honed a bit. I felt clunky, but that might have been a level thing. I think it was a level thing. I kept spamming two abilities that I don't have yet because they're so endemic to Astrologian, and not having them was really painful at level 36 or whatever we were in. Yeah. I think the closest analog to spice on Earth is ambergris. I haven't heard of this one. That weird stuff from whale stomachs. Oh, yikes. Because it's about like how it's being harvested, right? Now, what does ambergris do? Does it have any medicinal or psychedelic effects or anything like that? Like, why would we get that from whale stomachs in the first place? It sounds like something crazy to harvest, unless it happens to also be freaking fantastic. In which case, sorry whales, but we're going in there. Self-publishing can net profits, but you have to be willing to put in effort. You're your own marketing team. You got a network, but the most important thing is writing a good story. Okay, we can talk about that once we're done with the duty roulettes because I do want to explore that topic further. So put a pin in that, please, if you can. I know because I'm also trying indie release / distribute my creative work. Oh, can you tell us more about what sort of creative stuff you're into? I just kind of, for other people who are in the chat who are also creatives, some of you I've spoken with like more at length about what kind of stuff you've done and where you are in the space already. Like Kit and I have talked about this kind of stuff, but I don't, and Risa and I know each other IRL, but some of you I don't necessarily know where creatively you have developed or where you want to go, and I'd be curious to learn just because other creative minds, you all share something endemically with me. We're part of a tribe together there. Time and burnout are really what I feel hits us as writers these days. That's really why I would love to be able to do this full time. If I can do this, if I can do content creation full time, I mean this, when I'm saying this, obviously I realize I'm live streaming right this moment. It would probably, to be perfectly honest, be less in the mix doing live streams and probably more in the mix of doing permanent online content, including and probably at the highest level VODs. I'd probably be doing a lot more VODs as a full-timer than doing live stuff. Live stuff's good. It just the ability to cover bills for children really comes from VODs more than live streaming. Yeah. It's just so hard to get the momentum we want. Yeah, unless you're full-time, for sure. That's the stuff they were hunted to extinction for. Oh, the whales for the ambergris used in perfumes and cosmetics. So why? What was it about? Like, if somebody wore an ambergris ingredient perfume, what did that do? Like, how was that so different than other perfumes at the time that you had to do? Like, isn't that crazy to try to hunt down a whale for perfume stuff? Why? Feel free to chat away. I'm not in a rush. Okay, cool. I think Damien missed my message since I see him responding to stuff. Did I miss it? I saw the game, you talking about making a game. We commented on that and how doing something bigger than a game jam would be preferential since game jams don't allow you to really flesh out a full idea. Was there something else after that didn't show up in my feed? I hope not. If it did, please feel free to resend. If anybody sees some, like I completely missed your chat, do not feel bad about this. I feel bad about this, and that's just because I think I overthink things. I will never judge you guys if you send a message twice because I missed it at one point. Like the feed went by too fast or for whatever reason, or like because I'm using a one-person developer project, Social Stream Ninja. It's literally just sort of curated code by one person. If for some reason that decouples or doesn't properly like bring your chat in and I miss it that way because I'm using all these like small bespoke projects or because I'm using them and they miss something that you mentioned, do not feel bad about reposting. I just didn't hear you responding. Oh, gotcha. I mean, if you stepped away to do something else, that's good too. Life is good. Life is good to have besides just sitting here and listening to me. All right, queuing up for main scenario next. Are you comfortable sticking with Dark Knight? Because that's what we're doing is main scenario. This one should be easy though, no matter what. 1000%, it's not hard to miss a chat or two. Yeah, and especially like, gotta at some point, should I take a screenshot of these and like show you sort of what I'm looking at from my perspective, like how I run my stream? You know when I will do that? Actually, this is a great time for me to mention this. Should I post this as a pinned chat for the rest of the stream? Where are we at? 111. And I started like, oh God, like an hour and a half or more late. I do want to stream a little bit later than usual tonight, but I can't stream too much later than usual because literally day job is like Eye of Sauroning me, which between you and me and the rest of the internet that's listening to this right now, I'm not going to lie. When I get Eye of Sauron at work, and I think you all know what I mean by that term, like my boss and my boss's boss are being incredibly critical and heavily focused on my every single activity at my job. It feels like layoffs are being considered. Like the big C-level executives and the investors in my company and all the high-level bigwigs, the CEO and everybody, they're all talking about like, expenses are quite high. Is there a way that we could maximize profit and not just do it by producing a better product that everybody will love so we sell more of it, but actually, like, what if we could do it so that we made the same kind of product but with far less people working? Well, who would we get rid of? You know, some of our more tenured people, maybe they're paid quite a lot. And if they're paid quite a lot, then could we do less with more? Could we make a great product with far less people, especially the more expensive people? Now, I don't know if that's in their mindset. I don't know what's in their wheelhouse right now. I just know the sort of talk I'm hearing and the way I'm being criticized for things, many of which are like, I've already demonstrated to the company were not my fault. And they're like, that's okay, but we're still wanting to do this like high level detail. We're going to have you check in every single day. Every morning, we're going to talk about what happened yesterday, why you didn't meet your goals, what goals can you set next, set up for today, what we could change because your goals need to be met. We got to have great goals. Goals. And if your goals aren't met, what are we doing differently? How can we help? We're always there to help you. We're always there to do more for you, but we're also going to watch and stare at your goals and see what you were able to accomplish. And when you fail, we got to talk about that and have a correctional conversation and change the way you manage your time and protect what you're doing. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, that's such a lame. I'm obviously perturbed at the way my day job is treating me. And I know some really famous streamers. I'm going to name Nutty by name because Nutty is a great guy who is a streamer for streamers. He helps out other streamers develop like a great visual and lots of plugins and support for different things. I'm currently using some things that were developed by Nutty in my live streaming because he does good work for not being like necessarily a dev full time. He's basically a content creator full time right now. He was let go from his job and, he landed on his feet and became a really big content creator as a result of it. Could I do the same thing? Maybe. Do I want to be forced to do the same thing right now? Not right now. I don't want to be forced. If I go full-time content creation, I want it to be on my choice, my dime, not on theirs. I want them to lay me off and then have me go, well, I guess we're going to try this out and see how it goes. I'd really rather choose when to do that, when to make that decision. But we'll see. So that all being up in the air, where was I going with that? Why did I even mention that? I don't know. It'll come to me, I'm sure. I'm just trying not to let people die. Oh, yeah, just talking about like presenting chat. Oh, yeah. So in that, I did kind of want to go deeper down the rabbit hole about like what I'm doing with this brand, where I'm going forward with this. And that's kind of the secret premise about talking about legacy, is because I do want to talk about the future of the branding that we're embarking upon, what I want to do as far as the next, like, I don't know, like 30 years of content creation. Because I honestly could easily see myself doing content creation for 30 more years. Like, well into me going gray, well into me being wrinkled and old and losing my voice and just, becoming an ancient and still being on camera and doing stuff online. I have ideas I want to get across, and I don't want to pass away before they're done, frankly. So we'll talk about that. And there's also the reason why I want to talk about posting a pinned chat is I want to do something especially for ghosts. But if you're a subscriber or you're just somebody who's well trusted, I'm willing to let you guys in on this too. I want to have an event this Friday that is Discord exclusive. That is to say, out of all the streaming platforms I'm actually on, this one would not be on any of those. Discord is not really perceived as a streaming platform. It would just be a place where I would go live in a private room, and I would let certain people who I trust and know, that is to say, mostly the ghosts, but there are exceptions among you folks that are not ghosts, that I would be willing to make those exceptions to have you guys join too. It would be a Friday night thing, which is usually a night that Oz streams. It's usually a night where I work on other things. I still work those nights. I just don't work on camera. And I would like to go live and chat with you guys and share some stuff with you that I feel only comfortable going live on a platform that does not have a permanent VOD created afterwards, and a platform in which I have very well-honed, what's the word I'm looking for? Moderation of the community who's watching controls, so that if I see anybody that I don't want to be in that chat, I can make immediate adjustments to that. So that would be probably Friday, this Friday, probably at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Discord exclusive. And we'll do some stuff that has never been done on a regular live stream before, because I feel like we can't. Secret, surprise, secret, special, top secret stuff. D's Club only, fledglings and Ghost Club only stuff. Okay, let me catch up with chat. Sorry, a lot of side conversation about something that won't apply to a whole bunch of you, especially if you're watching this on VOD and you're like, "What happened on Friday? I missed it, and that there's no way to check, and it's not. There's no repository of it anywhere." It is exclusionary. It's exclusionary for a reason. Only some of you will be able to embark on this content for very valid reasons. Not valid. I mean, they're valuable reasons too. Yeah. Big Brothered. Wait, what's Big Brothered? Thank goodness it's not Praetorium. Oh, yeah. I forgot what we were running right now, what this one was called. Castrum Meridianum. Forgot about the name of this place until I looked and saw. Previous chat disappeared, then reappeared. Sorry if you're seeing it twice. I don't see your other chat for quite some time. Where'd your other chat go? Wait, where'd your other chats go? Now I'm looking in backlog and I don't see anything from you. Did you get... Did something auto-mod you out and deleted all your previous chats? I'm just looking. I don't see anything now. What was the last chat that you posted? Because now I'm just reading previous chat disappeared then reappeared, but I don't even see what the previous chat was. Feel free to resend. Wait, what was a tie? Who am I tying with? Sorry, this is in Trovo. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about probably because very few of you are probably watching me on Trovo. Which is fine. It's fine. I don't need you to be on Trovo. I have one follower there, I think. Maybe two, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. There's a reason it's there. There's a reason I stream to that platform. 1984. I'm building some curriculum for that right now. 1984. For the book. So relevant, it will be fun for the seniors, I imagine. That's the one. That's a good one. I'll type it again. Let me know if it comes through. Okay. Yeah, I've never read 1984, but I just understand that there are some books out there like that one that are about sort of a dystopian future, control and fascism and powers that overreach and trying to do awful things to us as a society. I haven't read a lot of that type of work before, but I've read some IP that traipses down that path. And the thing is, I think it's interesting and helpful for people to read down that line of thinking, because I feel like a lot of kids, when they come out of institutionalized learning in the US, are well trained and well taught to respect and follow authority. And that's why we teach our kids this. I don't understand. The most successful people in our society, the ones who leave the largest legacies, the ones who mean the most in culture and history, abandon that respect that authority provides, or they recognize where authority lacks, where it's a hindrance, and act accordingly. They authorize those who are deemed worthy of that respect and honor to have that authority, and criticize and shun those who would otherwise, who have proved themselves unworthy. That's far more important. I feel that any argument by authority is immediately invalid. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say based on who you are. I just want to hear the nature of your argument or your thought. I would rather hear somebody say, I'm not really an expert in this, but, and then I'll listen to what you have to say and decide for myself if what you're saying is valid or not. And if you're not an expert and you said something not that valid, that's fine. Not a big deal. You already said you're not an expert in the field. But if you also said, I'm not an expert in this, but, and then you come up with some like irrevocable truth, you really came to an idea or to a concept with fresh eyes in a way that benefited everybody from what you had to contribute. Who cares what your expertise was? Who cares what your credentials were? Who cares what you've learned? Who cares what your age is? Your institutionalized learning doesn't mean shit. It generally means you're good at jumping through other people's hoops and following like a good little shill to provide yourself as a cog in somebody else's wheel. Most people who made big success and leave big legacies ignore the existing system and demand other people follow them instead of follow somebody else who's already edified. So yeah, good stuff. D, you haven't read 1984? I know. Now is a great time to read it. I mean, if you can carve time in my schedule to help me read it, you let me know. I just need, I'll tell you how much I need to earn per year. And if you can help me earn that much in 40 hours a week so that I have more free time to sit and read books, so I'm not working more than 40 hours a week, but still able to maintain all the household expenses that I need to right now, then yeah, you help me design a schedule in which I can read 1984, and then I will. That's my point. Fahrenheit 451 is another good one. I think Oz has read that one, but I have not. Isn't the whole premise behind that one about book burning, though? Or is it more nuanced than just that? It's very much in the Fahrenheit 451 oeuvre, or Gattaca. Okay. I also have never read Gattaca. The best one is still A Canticle for Leibowitz. I don't know that one either. I've never heard of that one, actually. Some of these I've heard of. That's one that's never hit my radar. I haven't released anything yet, but creatively, I'm all over. I love that. Man after my own heart. We'll have to, once we're done with all this, talk about what it is I have planned for the next 30 years. Writing and drawing are my main outlets, but I'm also fixing to download DaVinci Resolve and teach myself video editing. Excellent. We should talk. I have DaVinci Resolve. Actually, I have DaVinci Resolve Studio. And I'm a big advocate of it. I don't know everything, but I will say if you have the bug to want to try to learn how to edit, I could help plant that seed, because the things I do know about in DaVinci Resolve are fantastic, and they light me up. They make me want to be a full-time editor, although I don't have a client, and I personally have so many of my own projects that I want to do that I don't think I could possibly be an editor just for somebody else. Depends on who. There are a few content creators out there who I know and love, usually or generally people I know IRL, that I'd be interested in maybe doing editing for, as long as I was still able to, at some point in my work week, have time for my own content, in which case then I would probably do it. But I'm a big nerd for editing, or at least learning how to be a better editor if that opportunity presents itself. Oof. Can you not? You hurt so bad. Why you got to do all those AoE casts? They have so much to discuss. I have a whole dystopia semester for my 9th graders. Love that. Haven't heard of that one? Oh, yeah, the Leibowitz one. Give it to Rain.
You are my dad.
It's Nas.
You're my dad. Woogie, woogie, woogie.
What was your Death Knight's name that you played when we first met so you could get in good with my parents? Bromide. Bromide. Yeah. I stole all the combinations. Are you proud of me, Toady? Man, I haven't. I completely spaced it. Completely spaced that one out. Are we talking about the Leibowitz one? I don't even know if I own it. Good call out. Audiobook? Audiobook? Do you think I have time where my ears are not being taken up? Oh, Risa, when I'm clocked in, I have to put headphones on and listen to music or YouTube just in order to not hear the constant stream of voices in my house, since I'm work from home. And as soon as I'm clocked out, literally actually before I'm clocked out, there's like a queue for my ears that builds up. So clock out time hits and I go, okay, I'm turning off my computer, I usually work at Oz's computer these days, to be honest. I turn off Oz's computer. I stand up and like the little and the tiny were both waiting. And they were like, Baba, 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 me first, me first. No, I was first. I got something. No, I have a story. No, I want to show you my art. No, I got this thing, other thing. And then Oz also has her things that she wants to tell me. And like, there's so much. And we have to coordinate dinner. And after doing dinner, because the kids eat slow, especially the little, then we have to fabricate a new situation for bedtime. And during the summer break, that's been crazy, as you probably know, since I've started every stream late for the past like 2 weeks. So bedtime's been insane. And then with bedtime being as late as it is, basically I'm like rushing to do other things and like running out and doing maybe a last minute run to the grocery store for snacks for Oz or something else. And then trying to get my stream together. I don't have ear-free time where I'm not listening to something that I could then listen to an audio book. It doesn't exist. Ear unqualified time. Well, thank you. And we'll take you up on the self-care. But I won't save the game. That's on you. You save it. You save it, Toady. You're standing right there. Hit save for us, won't you? Please save the game for us. Okay. Oh, that was a good stretch. Oh. Have you ever stretched so your elbows pop? Elbow popping is a pretty fantastic feeling to me anyways. Yeah, I really do like it. Also, Martin29, hi and welcome. Good to see you. We're discussing what legacy you would leave after you've left this planet. 451 degree Fahrenheit is the temperature at which books burn. Yeah, I knew the basic premise. Yeah. Very proud you did a good. I did all right. I do okay as a healer. I am primary healer in this game. I started off as a white mage and thought I'm white mage for life. Final Fantasy 14 White Mage. I love it. I don't want to be that all the time. And then I got Oz roped into the game. She really wanted to be DPS. I was like, oh crap, if you want to be DPS, your queue times are going to be awful the whole time you're trying to level up. Back then, Stormblood. We both joined right after the Stormblood expansion. So I'm like, oh man, yeah, your queue times are going to be real ass. So I looked and saw, basically it was always like tank was the adventurer in need. So I picked up Paladin and I played Paladin as like a Paladin main for an expansion and a half, just to make sure Oz got like max level with everything she wanted to do. Once that happened, I went back into healing and I found out I fell in love with Astro and the original card setup. Then they nerfed the cards, but I stuck with Astro because I felt like they were gonna do good by Astro at some point again in the future. I love buffing classes more than I love straight healing classes. I just didn't think they existed until I found Astro. And so I was Astrologian for a long time. I lived through the Shadowbringers Astro, which I thought was pathetic. It was just so vapid of interest. It was not a good experience. Very empty, very pointless, useless among the not useless, just like no interest, no reason to pick Astro. And then they brought back at least some complexity with the most recent rework for Astro. And I'm glad I stuck with it because I'm happy with it again. And I'm happier as Astro than I am as any other healing class. From what I've heard, DR is insane with its features, even in the free version, which I'm going to use. Absolutely. It'd take a bit to get good at it, but if you want to talk down the line, I'm open to that. 100%. Find me in DMs. Yeah, feel free to cyberstalk me. I'm willing to make time in my I know I talk about my schedule being super busy, but I'm willing to make time if it means investing in somebody else, finding a passion, especially something that can be so well monetized and find good like future revenue sources or creativity sources, or support your own endeavors so you're not paying another editor to do your work. Yeah. Our friend listens to books at work. I can't do that. My work is so English required. Like Oz, when she worked a computer-based desk job, dealt with numbers all day. And because she dealt with numbers, she was in, I believe, accounts payable. She could sit and listen to story-based podcasts, follow the story, follow the narrative, and just like listen to podcast after podcast after podcast, because the number side of her brain was doing like the 10 key and doing all the inputs and everything and getting all the AP stuff, AP work done. And her language part of the brain was listening to the story. I tried that at one point in my current role, sort of what I'm doing right now. And because there's just so much language involved, I would miss big dearths of story, which if you're listening to like a podcast or an interview or whatever, you miss out on part of what's being spoken about. And it's not really that big of a deal. But if you're listening to something narration of a story, or just like anything podcast story related, is going to be cumulative by nature. And so you're going to hear something like, and then he stepped out of the alleyway he was skulking in, like, he who? Wait, what alley? How did he get there? What's going on? And then you have to like rewind and like figure out where along the line you stopped being able to listen. But like knowing where you weren't able to listen in a story is like trying to remember at what minute you fell asleep. You just can't do it. It's frustrating. So I can't do that. I listen while driving too. I don't drive. Yeah. I don't drive. I don't have a commute, and I don't have time free for my ears. It sucks, but it's true. Thank you for saving the game, Toady. My body's like a bag of chips, so I pop and crack a lot. Do you like it when your elbows pop? That's one of my favorite feelings. That's one of my favorite parts about the triple self-care, having poppable elbows. So good. Everything is here. Hi and welcome. What is everything? What all do you have there? Can you let me know? Do you have the kitchen sink there? Hell, I could just lurk in Discord till the time is right. I mean, you could, but that might be a waste of your time. It's better to set up time with me. All right. What do we have going on next? We're not going to do guild heists. That's like, or hests. That's the one thing that it's just wasted time. I already did alliance raids. I hope you don't mind if we skip that one because I already did that one. Also, how do you feel about PvP? Is that an interest to you? Do you like doing the frontline roulette, or do you prefer not to? You can answer me whenever you want. We're just gonna pop into normal raids. Also, you're still Dark Knight. That's how you want to be. Then it's fine. All right, normal raids. Here we go. Yeah. So as this queue is going, my creative endeavors are preliminarily online content creation, but they don't necessarily stop with what you might consider the traditional content creators' work in the space of VODs and live streams. With VODs, I'm highly inspired by and want to do more work in the vein of video essay work. So for those of you who are fans of ContraPoints or Mooncat or Philosophy Tube, those are some of my favorite video essayists. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a couple video essays, but they're not quite. I mean, obviously, your first video essays are never going to be exactly what you want them to be in their final state, but as a no budget, small stream, just big brain sort of person, I have ideas that I want to do, and I can sort of meet them to some degree. You can see my latest video essay on YouTube to get an idea of sort of where I'm going with the concept. But that's where I want to build largely there. With live streaming, obviously I'd like to do more deep thought, critical thinking, philosophical, political, religious concepts that dive sorry microphone, that dive very deeply into activating and using our free time, our downtime that we're not working, to try to be better and bigger than what we allow ourselves to be. What is that? Where are we? Anabaseos, the 11th circle. Well, good luck everybody, because I don't remember this fight at all. I don't remember anything about this whatsoever. I don't remember the aesthetic. I don't know this guy at all. I don't remember his name. Y'all are in trouble, I guess is what I mean to say. No, it's fine. We'll do okay, I guess. Do as best as we can anyways. I do love the music here, because it's the same music as the Emmett Selk's fabricated city, which I adore. I really do love that area, and I especially love the music. Oh no. I messed up twice. I really don't know this fight. Divisive rolling. Everybody's backing away. Okay. Gotcha. Divisive means he's going to divide us up, right? I will, Stuart. I have to make sure I don't die to this fight, though, because this is a little dicey. I wasn't expecting to get into a fight I know nothing about. What's going on? Are we doing the right thing? Uh-oh. Both our tanks are dead. We're in trouble. They just have to actually accept their reses. Am I in? I'm definitely not in. Ooh. All right. Let's make this work. Let's make everybody live again. I got plenty of mana. I just got to actually feed people full of all my goodies. Don't mind PvP. Glad you don't want to do alliance since I'll be down before I take that. Gotcha. I mean, you could always just go DPS and just have like an easy time of it. Right? Man, I just will not lose all of my vulnerability stacks on this particular fight. Even though I know you don't stretch, you just compress. Oh yeah, we talked about this off stream the other day. Whoa, that's a big one. I love this music. Easily among some of my favorite music in the game of all time. It's just such a great track. And it doesn't do a lot of the gimmicks that usually make me fall in love with music. So I can't blame it for being underhanded or using low-hanging fruit. Cracking elbows is good, but my favorite is my knees popping when I bend them. When I can make my knees pop, it feels pretty good. And especially if I feel like I need it. I don't often feel like I need the cracking or popping of a joint. But when I do, divisive, that's pull away. Oh, wait, what's hitting me so hard? Oh, well, I died to something. I wasn't paying attention. When I do feel like I need a pop, it doesn't matter what it is, elbow, knee, knuckle, anything. There is something immensely satisfying about that sensation. Oh, man. This fight is a lot more evolved than I have attention for right now. I should be learning from what I'm watching, but oh gosh. This one's back away completely. Divisive rolling. Whatever's not called divisive rolling is the one you have to jump in on, but that only happened at the very beginning of the fight and it hasn't happened since. Just interesting. I guess not the craziest, hardest fight. We're also probably all out gearing the enemy here. So all the damage hits for lighter. Any mistakes we make are more easily forgiven based on how strong we are comparatively. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's fine. Uh-oh. What about this? That one's the extra stacky icon, which I will use my shield on. The paladin will also use theirs. Good stuff. What my big blue bubble there does is it reduces damage taken by the entire group by 10%. So it's a really nice benefit when we're trying to take a lot of damage in a row like that. Wait, how did everybody know not to stand outside? Oh well. This won't matter very soon. So we'll beat this fight, and I won't have to think about this guy for another couple years until I see him again. I'll be like, oh, who is this? I don't remember this guy at all. I've never fought this fight. Obviously, I have. fought this fight at least once. And this would probably, honestly, be my second time. There it is. Okay. Beautiful. I feel like I was actually reasonably successful in a fight I know nothing about. Random question. Are there still active Final Fantasy XI servers? You're asking the wrong person, but I know people in my community have, and maybe some still do play Final Fantasy XI. I played it for 2 weeks and I quit before my free trial was up. I hated it so much. Yeah. Everyone forgets that one was also an MMO. I feel like it was highly lauded. A lot of people loved it. And I will say this, if it was your first MMO, there's a good chance you absolutely loved it. You thought it was the best game that you've ever played, because most people who like RPGs and fantasy settings, broadswords and armor and magic and dragons and all that kind of stuff will probably find an MMO in the course of their lifetime, right? Because these games have it. They're all sort of based on the origins of D&D, but they're done so that you don't do dice rolls. You're pressing buttons, so it's like you're playing in a video game, fighting stuff with a bunch of other people, like a D&D session, and all the math's kind of done for you, and you're just casting the spells or using the skills. And then you're fighting the trolls and the ogres and the dragons and stuff like that. And you're getting levels and you're getting experience and you're getting gold. And you go back to the town and you buy from the merchants. You spend your gold and you get upgrades. And it all feels very progressive and cool. And your character persists. And you always keep getting better and better. And it's not quite like Diablo. It's not as basic as that. There's a lot more nuance and complexity. There are big cities with lots of other people, and you can engage in role playing, and maybe you can even set up a shop in some of them. And so once you find that, you feel like you have found your alternate world, your third place that you go between work and home and that kind of stuff. And it fulfills your life. And I think if you never knew that genre of games existed, and then Square Enix was like, hey, you like single-player JRPGs? Boy, have we got something for you. We've set it up so you can play on a server with hundreds, maybe even thousands of other people together. Group up with them. You know, your party isn't like an active time meter where you're selecting for everybody in your group anymore. It's not like that anymore. Now you're with everybody and there are other people. And yeah, it's a wonderful experience. And especially with Final Fantasy XI, they really smushed the Japanese and American player base together. So there was some multiculturalism where I thought like the two communities were having so much fun learning each other's cultures and communication and all that kind of stuff. They had a lot of fun with that part. That was cool. For me, 11 was not my first Final Fantasy, or sorry, 11 was not my first MMO. And where it was in the history of MMOs was really behind the times. So by the time Final Fantasy XI came out, and I was a huge Final Fantasy nerd, I was like, oh man, an MMO, but made by Square Enix and made in the Final Fantasy IP, I'm going to devour this. I love this confluence of one of my favorite game designer production companies and one of my favorite genres coming together. And then I played it and I was like, oh, this isn't as good as almost every single MMO on the market. It's worse than almost everyone, all of its competitors. So the only reason why I think it succeeded is if you were interested in Final Fantasy and you had no idea what an MMO is, in which case it's fucking great, you know? But yeah, it was awful compared to everything else. I wish I didn't main tank that. I made so many mistakes. Did you see how many times I almost died? And then the one time I did die? All right, queuing us up for Frontline. Yeah, it was awful. I did very, very poorly in that. And I never, or the whole time we were playing, I did not learn the metric for the big middle of the map AoE that then would either do another middle AoE or would AoE the outside two edges. I didn't learn the tell. So if I do that again, I'll probably make the same mistake. Right. So as we were talking before, the last time I was waiting in a queue and didn't finish. Video essays, really big interest of mine to go down that rabbit hole, especially if you've ever seen anything by Mooncat. I feel like we are tribal. I really like the sort of work that she does in her videos, not just in the creative aspect. She's also a musician like I am as well, and is also just a big, deep researcher, which I do like to do as well. If I make a claim or if I'm coming at a subject matter, I want to cite what's out there, and I want to be cautious about what I cite so that it lasts through scrutiny. You know, when thousands of people watch your video and some of them have free time to analyze, well, what is your, you know, what are your sources? Well, who funded those sources? Well, what do those studies actually say? Do they draw the conclusions that you are claiming in your video? I want to always make sure that I hold myself to that level of integrity, because online content creation means infinite, not infinite, but near infinite scrutiny. And so you want to make sure that you're always being as trustworthy as you can be. Plus, even if it wasn't, if my videos all disappeared within a day, I'd still want to be that person that you could trust. I just want that for myself. I never want to remove live streaming from my bag of tricks. So I think even if I reduce hours to make sure that I see other endeavors succeed, live streaming will literally always be a part of the secret sauce. Plus, I just love being with you guys live so much anyway. He glows with light for go out, dark for in. Oh, gotcha. Thank you for that. I will forget that by the next time I fight him, because I literally almost... I think the only time I ever saw that fight before tonight was when Oz and I were unlocking those raids. Like, nobody plays that content, I feel. Who are you calling right now? Calling an ambulance. Can we pull up? Maybe I'll do a paint thing. For the longest time, I didn't bring this up on stream because a famous content creator was sort of doing this regularly, and I felt awkward about it. But now that that person's under fire quite often, I don't feel so awkward if I start doing paint. So, oh, this feels so thin. Can we do a thicker line? Brushes? We do brush instead of this? I guess it's a little bit thicker. So put my initials right there. So, VODs, yeah. With like a big old... That looks awful. Maybe not that. Shing, shing, shing. So obviously the video essay sort of format is going to be a big thing. Live streams, maybe less so, because the monetization capacity of these is really dependent on you somehow doing like breakaway work that differentiates you across what, like 3 million other live streamers on Twitch alone, let alone all the other platforms. XMN Pro, hello. Hi, welcome. Thanks for popping in. The concept that you can make crazy money doing a live show is pretty much reliant on how well the platform wants to carry you. What people do they want to put you in front of? How many new faces are you going to see on a regular basis? How many of those people are just going to be along for the ride for free? I see so many like mid-region streamers, mid-sized streamers get to the place where they're streaming to maybe 50 to 100 people. But when you look in their chat and when you look to see what's going on with the show, the amount of active people really isn't that different from what you see in, say, this community. When we're taking a look at everybody who's like actively live chatting, commenting, sharing their own ideas, contributing, they're regularly part of the show, and they're not just like have you in the background for the ASMR and the lovely voice that you're trying to listen to relax for the night. When it's more than that, and you're part of that community, small streamers don't have it almost at all. Folks like me that are on the small side but have a very active, engaged, and caring community, I feel very privileged because you're all chatting with me and sharing ideas as much as I see some of those 50 to 100 audience sized people when you look at their chat. Or their chat's, busy, but it's full of what? People spamming emoji or like making requests or just sort of like doing filler conversation. They're talking about stuff they want to talk about. The streamer could be talking about a game or something that happened to them IRL, and somebody in chat pops in and just wants to completely chat about a book they're reading or a game they're playing that the streamer wasn't talking about. Like, completely just like, I just want you to listen to me and read my chat out loud and talk about what I want you to talk about. They're basically trying to, derail the stream, right? I'm calling my body bag guy. Nice. Good job. Thank you for that. So I feel like live, while I do have the advantage of having a very active community, it's not necessarily there for like number one revenue source. Not to mention also, live requires participant revenue to really make it big. The people that you need to watch your lives also need to come from some sort of monetary independence. We can just do that with like a bag of cash or something like that. Whereas VODs, you could just do AdSense, right? So a whole bunch of people are going to watch your VODs and not contribute, not become a member, not go click your Patreon and generate money that way. But merely by watching, and if you're blocking ads, obviously this doesn't apply to you. I'm an ad blocker too, so I get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't block ads. If you block ads, whatever. If you love your content creator and you really want them to aspire to bigger things, you can always set some major ad blockers. Not going to mention any by name to draw the eye of Sauron on them, but you can set certain major ad blockers with filters such that if the URL contains like the words Damien Holme, which everything I do on every platform has that has my name in the URL. I think except for Trovo, that might be the one place where it's not the case. Then you can filter ads to continue to come to you, in which case you're just passively giving me money by doing nothing on your end except maybe missing part of the stream's formatting, right? Which, too, at least for Twitch, anytime I see an ad break, I pause on any story or specific part of the game that's really relevant for the audience to view. But in addition to VODs and lives, as everybody can expect, obviously there's other types of content. I don't want to stop making shorts. I just stopped making shorts because my day job required so much more of me recently. But you all probably recently saw a stint a month ago, or like starting 2 months ago and like ending a month ago or whatever, where short form video was just sprouting everywhere with my name on it, right? Great stuff. On YouTube, on TikTok, on everywhere. And I was analyzing all the platforms. It's basically posting the same content everywhere and then letting them fight for dominance, which was interesting. It's like putting insects in a jar and then watching them go at it together. And so I had like the same food. I'd sprinkle in, here are all my VODs, and be like, all right, how does Twitch handle it? How does YouTube handle it? How does TikTok and Instagram, like who's going to get the most views and who's going to present my stuff to like existing followers versus like new faces too. That's a big thing too, right? If you got 100 to 1,000 followers on a given platform and they're the ones who are reacting to and liking and sharing the newest thing that you put up, you've kind of already won those people. So that's maybe not necessarily where you're going to flourish. But if you can get new blood, if you can get more new people seeing your stuff and they're reacting and commenting, liking and following and all of that, then that's a win, right? Those are people that are expanding your community out further and giving you a higher chance to succeed or more chances to succeed, because everything content creation really is sort of like buying a lottery ticket if you really think about it to some degree. Yeah, and shorts are honestly like big revenue driving things. So if you want to fast forward your content creation career, doing short form video, oh crap, we're actually gonna fight, is wait, what is this map? Crap, I don't know this map. I'm following you. Oh no, I'm not following you. Toady, I thought I knew where you were going, but I don't know where you're going. I've never fought on this one, so we're in trouble. I mean, we'll see how this goes. That's what I mean to say. Oh, I guess we're doing okay. We just raffle stomped these red team folks. And we're running backwards for some reason. I guess that's important. Oh, there's also middle stuff that has to happen. Wait, is this kind of looks like, oh, I think I do know this map. Was this map significantly altered since I last played it? Could be. Could be that's all this is. Significant change to everything. Viper's gonna die. Oh, I died. Never mind. Yeah, I think it's obvious for anybody that's forayed into content creation, or just if you have favorite content creators, you probably recognize that the amount of content that you see of theirs that is short form is probably flooding your algorithm versus stuff that is not short form. Like the long form stuff is obviously going to follow you around if you are bought into the brand and that's your interest. That's where you're heavily invested in that person. That's fine. But for everyone that you don't follow, if you're not that interested or you've just passively shown some clicks or views on somebody, you're going to find them time and time again if you watch anything short form. And it's going to be across platforms too. There are some folks that I didn't expect to find in like Xiaohongshu, because that's a very different platform. It's one that's not hosted in the US. The vast majority of the content created there is not English content. And so the concept that you would ever find anybody that you were passively following on another platform there would be pretty far-fetched. But I have found some stuff that's like, oh crap, yeah, I guess so. There's quite a bit of the creators that I like the most who have also found their way to Xiaohongshu and are posting there. Not to say it's like a perfect platform or that I advocate that particular platform. As it turns out, the more time I spend there, the more I realize how completely full of propaganda and governmental manipulation the Chinese audience in Xiaohongshu are. And that's no dig at anybody who lives in China. Do I see the same sort of stuff in the US? You bet. Oh, you bet. It's just happens to be this weird ubiquitous thing where the more time you spend in social media or traditional media, the more chances there are of you getting heavily manipulated by well-spoken pundits who can share their ideas in a convincing way. And what that means is sometimes, depending on where you end up, you know what it honestly is? It's like the new religion, where once upon a time, where you were born, who your parents were, and what your community believed determined your religion. Flat out, you believed what everybody around you told you was true because it was so convincing, because religion is so, it's such a drug, right? And then it started happening again, but with the internet. Absolutely. So I see it all over the US, and I see it all over Xiaohongshu with Chinese population as well. It's just, it's a thing. It's going to keep happening. Gunbreaker. Oh, I see a white mage there. Can we address that guy? Uh-oh. Taking significant damage here. Can we make sure I don't lose? Dying again. They really hate me. That said, once I am able to go more full-time, the amount of shorts that I deploy will be quite high. You'll have to be full Bart Simpson on my shit because you'll have to be eating my shorts every day. Sorry, that was like the dumbest joke. I don't know where that even came from. Where did I go there? Okay. Once we're done with this, we will continue because there's lots of other media I'd love to embark in besides just what you would traditionally expect with content creators, almost exclusively video-based content, right? There's a significant amount of other stuff as well. That guy just doesn't want to stop, does he? Cool. I will gladly take his flag. Can I do that? Can you just, do I have to click anything or do I just stand here and stuff happens? I think you just stand in it. I turned it neutral. More people who stand in here, the faster it changes. Is that it? We really want to change the yellow flags because they're, well, now red's winning. Shit. How did that happen? Hi. Oh, man, they completely destroyed me before I could even react. Bart Simpson, it came from Bart Simpson. Yeah, it's true. Martin29, hi and welcome. We're discussing what legacy everybody would leave behind on this planet after you're done. What do you want to live? What ideas? What art? What things do you want to exist long after you've ceased to? Some big stuff must be happening here in the middle. And we're like neck and neck for first place. Oh, now everybody's gone. Damn. I come up here and it's like I'm too late for everything. Although I have some allies here that are persisting. Oh boy, I have a lot of friendos here who are having a bad time. Can we change that for them? Oh, now I'm gonna have a bad time. Oof, you got me good. Okay. So, other forms of media that I want to embark in. Some of these I've already started. It's just a matter of finding the time to continue on in those platforms. The number one, oh, did I not lock this in place? Darn. the number one form of content creation that I started upon a long time ago and that I want to grow again because I feel very strongly that I have a future in this is music. It's a music career. I was a professional musician in the LA and Orange County area of Southern California for years across several different bands. I was both frontman in a few bands that I had started, either myself or with some help from friends that I went to high school with or college. And there are other bands. Hi, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to mess with you while you're messing with them. Wait, who's closest to winning? Yellow now? Now yellow's the strong outlier here. We mess with you. Uh-oh, you have a healer with you. Damn. Don't like that. Can I stun you? Because I don't like having to deal with you. Oh, there's lots of you here now. I don't appreciate that. Oh, there's so many of you. Just yellows upon yellows upon yellows. Are they all ignoring me now? Or is somebody rage-faced and they want to keep up with me? They don't. Oh, that's very nice. They all are just full-on ignoring me. Super appreciate that. I'm just going to stand here and hopefully this guy's not going to get too mad. Please don't. I wish he wouldn't. Oh, well. I only bothered them for a couple seconds of their time. Hopefully it was enough to get us some advantage. Oz and I are currently working on a project with another third secret collaborator right now to produce new music in a genre that I have previously not worked in. And we're collaborating in ways that I never thought would be what we were going to do. And yet here we are doing it. So we're working on new music right now. I don't want to talk too much about the project until some things come to light. So just suffice it to say, it's exciting stuff for me. I'm eager to see what we're capable of. You really want me dead, don't you? Big jerk. Don't you know I'm a healer? You can't take me down. Although there's two of you trying to kill me, I guess you can. I'm learning keyboard to join a friend's band. I love that. You couldn't find anyone else to play keyboard. Any advice? Keyboard, one of the biggest things you can do if you're learning from absolute scratch is just finding really great exercises that get your fingers chops down. You really, especially at the beginning, do not want to learn bad habits for your fingering, especially with both hands. You want them to be well agile, and you want to be able to be sure that you can do everything that you want to do sort of in a as normal a way as possible. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like you really want to cohere to sort of like the tried and true methodology of like going through scales and going through chord progressions and stuff, because some people, some smarter people than you and I, have figured all that stuff out a long time ago, and it's better to get that stuff down from the experts than learn your own bad habits and mistakes early on, which can really hinder you down the line once you become so what's the word I'm looking for? Entrenched in certain bad habits. Oh, it's another white mage. Come here, white mage. Ah, they're scared. They don't want to partake. Thanks. Thanks for trying. We're now last by quite a long shot, so we should probably be focusing more on reds. And I'm probably going to join everybody there. No, the center's actually really lit up with stuff, so probably go that way. There's so many things. Oh, but nobody... Looks like nobody on our team is actually here to fight for the middle. Okay, good. They're teleporting there right now. Good, 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 good. They're just there taking the teleports. Excellent. Here they all are. Fight that red team. Oh, that guy just yeeted himself away. Cool. The other thing I would stress is learning scales in different methods. So not just like learning how to run through scales up and down, but practicing scales going like up 2 notes, down 1 note, up 2 notes, down 1 note, stuff like that. A lot of your greatest like jazz and soloist folks on every instrument, this is not just for keys, will learn sort of how to go through notes in any given scale or in any given key in a way. It wasn't us. Oh, it was so close. It was out of 2,400 points, 2318 to 2323 to 2,400. We lost, but super close. I've never seen a game that close. I think it was the first time I've done PvP that was so neck and neck and neck. Good stuff. Yeah, knowing some of those things, and I mean, this is even true for vocalists too. Getting that practice in where that's it for me. I think that's it for me too, as far as the roulettes go. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate your help in running through basically all of that tonight. Couldn't have done it with, I could have done it without you. It just would have been a little bit slower and probably not as much fun. So I super appreciate you being there. Yeah, even vocalists will go through practicing different parts of a scale or different intervals, going up 4 and down 2 and that sort of thing. And when you hear somebody doing improv or jazz or anything of the sort, there's a good chance they're not just off the cuff making up stuff as they go with no direction at all. Sometimes it's about memorizing 50 to 100 different little phrases and putting them together and knowing when to start and when to stop and when to give silence and when to go high and when to go low and when to give space for somebody else, you know. So it's a lot about that kind of stuff too. A great person on keys that does content creation. What is their name? Let me see if I can find them real quick. The way he explains content creation, or sorry, the way he explains the foundational components of like music theory and keys is so cool, but I can't remember what his name is. Well, you know, there's somebody I think that does great breakdowns of other people's work who's primarily showing it on keys. And I really like who she chooses. Her name's Ixi, I-X-I. Let me pull this up. I don't want to watch your video, your ads. Yeah, literally just I-X-I. Of course, when I try to zoom in, like everything doesn't let me zoom in. Really great at explaining the concepts behind why famous artists who you know and love their music already chose some of the things that they did, and she'll bust it down. She'll like play the different notes of a chord very slowly and then like maybe add the vocal slowly or after you hear each component. It's kind of like wine tasting, where the best wine tasters I'll catch up with chat in a second. I see some funny stuff coming up. Where wine tasters if you're just into wine tasting, you want to try it out because you happen to be in Napa Valley or you're going on a vacation to a vineyard or whatever. You're gonna try wine. You're gonna say, "Damn, that tastes good," and then you're not gonna understand like the reasoning why behind it. But professional wine tasters, they go through a course in which you taste the different components of wine and rewire your brain so that you're able to pick apart each different nuance of the flavor of wine. And this is weird, but it is true. Wine has an alcoholic flavor undertone to it, obviously, for obvious reasons. And so what you want to do is taste something kind of akin to like pure alcohol so that your brain and your tongue can differentiate what the pure alcohol flavor tastes like and nuance that part in to your next wine tasting as far as like, is this very dry or very sweet? How alcoholic does this taste? You know, what's the nuance there? You also want to taste like the sour tannins of the grape by themselves. Also the cask wood. There are like wood essence liquid that you can drink to taste, you know, like what oakiness tastes like or whatever type of cask that that your wine might be put in. Liquid, trying to think what else. There's just like a several different nuanced flavors that you'll taste separately. You'll wire your brain to each of those separate flavors, and then when you do taste wine, your brain can, through the magic of our way of memorizing things through scent and through taste better than some other components of the memory, we're able to pull those parts apart in our tasting of wine once we're mapped this way. Whole point in that side excursion is I feel like Ixie does this really well with the way she explains how some artists put together their music, and she'll play each parts separately on keys. She's primarily a keyboardist showing you the music theory, and she'll be like, okay, so there's the, you know, the first, the third, the fifth, and there's that sixth that you pop in there, and here's why it sounds like the flavor that it does. And when you're singing the, you know, you maybe sing the upper second note, which would be the ninth in there, and then you got that vocal, and she'll sing it, and she'll be like, you hear how that sounds all together, and so you're kind of getting that same music theory by the constituent components kind of thing. I don't know if this is too fundamental for you and you're already an instrumentalist. What's up, JFH? How do you say your name? Well, come on in. Yeah, I don't know if that's too like fundamentalist, or if you're well developed past that as a musician and it's just instrumentalists on keyboard that you're looking to do. But yeah, I'm a big proponent of all those things. Let me catch up with chat and talk with everybody here. Where did we leave off? This just in, D wants us to have good fingering. Always. Good fingering is a great skill in every endeavor. If you can't finger well, you'll never accomplish anything in life. It all starts with the fingers. Maybe. Yeah. I can never get into the PvP stuff in these. I'm not good at it, but it just gives you rewards for trying. So I've much preferred PvP in other RPGs, and especially other MMOs. I think the Guild Wars 2 PvP component is significantly more nuanced and advanced than what you see here in Final Fantasy. Here it's kind of I feel like it's received less attention and less interest. So they haven't given you a whole lot of viable, cool stuff to do. It's just a game mode to pit you against other people if you want it, but it's not well designed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Psst, psst, psst. Hi, thanks for the psst, psst. That gets my attention as soon as I read it. Twitch says you're in the just chatting category. Don't know if you meant that. Yes. While you do see a game up here, we are significantly just chatting. The component of tonight is talking about what legacy you'd like to leave behind long after you're gone. What sort of nuance you want to bring to the world. whose minds you want to alter and in what way, or if anything at all, if you would really just like to be completely forgotten when that happens. God, we must be at the 3-hour mark because I disconnected from some server again, and I still don't know what it is that's disconnecting. But something always disconnects right at 3 hours, and that freaks me out. Yeah. I needed it, not got the confidence to tank without a healer buddy. Well, I'm glad to be that confidence assessment or provision for you. Nice to get that rust off a little. Good. That's me with beer, like a wine sommelier. To beer, we have Cicerone? 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 How do you pronounce that? And I took and passed the test for that certification. Nice. So is it kind of the same thing? Like you break beer up into constituent flavors, you test them, try them, so your tongue's sort of like rewired to the experience. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole with beer. It's very helpful. Thank you. Excellent. If you want to go further down the rabbit hole, I know some great content creators in that space. I'd also like to enter that space with content creation as well. I just don't. I'm such a jack of all trades. If I start talking about music theory, I could easily tell you 5 other people that know music theory deeper than I do. But maybe I'd say it in a different way because I'm also so nuanced in computer programming, in linguistics and languages, in so many other different disciplines as well. So I will never be as good as anybody who's an expert at something, but maybe in my vast expanse of showing interest in 20 different knowledge bases, I might have a different see some of you on the other side of ads. I might have a different way of presenting knowledge than other people do that might be equivalent to expertise, even though I don't have expertise. I don't know. We'll see. God, how far back am I still trying to catch up? That's what she said. I'm so far behind, I don't know what she said. I had to do some on ESO to get a reward not too long ago, so I understand it. Oh, the PvP. Problem is the whole time I'm like, is it over yet? PvP is not really for everybody. I'm particularly a very competitive sort of person, so I like doing PvP. But in games where people predominantly play PvP and other people predominantly play the PvE situation, like in Final Fantasy, there's always such a disparity of skill, and it's pretty frustrating to be someone personally who's mostly focused on the PvE side of things around a bunch of people that know way more what they're doing than what I am. So I just try to follow the herd and not feed too hard. Yeah. I just figured I'd mention it. Probably my legacy is just be kind and then forgotten. Not bad. That's probably the least impact on anybody, at least negative impact on anybody you could offer while still on this planet, and then being gone, and then just not being there. Yeah. Can confirm as someone who is in the game delightfully chatty. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the adverb delightfully tossed in there. Sometimes I do feel like there are the few people that find my channel, pop in, and really want to see predominantly my gameplay and my analysis of the game that we're playing, that sway me into thinking, just like the rest of Twitch, just like the rest of YouTube, if there's a game up on my screen, I owe it to you guys. I don't really owe you guys. What I owe you guys is the best I can provide. And honestly, the best I can provide is not as a gamer. Do I do okay at games? Yeah, I do okay. I'm not a bad gamer. I don't just like scream and throw my keyboard in the air because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm also not here to be an excellent gamer. I'm here to give you excellence where my brain has its most excellence, which is whatever the hell I'm doing today. It's an Oz. It's a gobbo raid. Everybody, hide your snacks and probably plug your noses because I think the farts are on the way. Hello, Oz. How's our stream tonight? It is a gobbo raid. Welcome, everybody. Shout outs to the streamer of Oz. Oh, yeah, there it is. Gobbo Fart Raid. What did I tell you? Plug your nose. Here it comes.
Funny balls deep in some side.
Someone clip it.
That was so short. Can we do another? Let's try again.
Kill the children. Kill the children.
What are you doing? Don't kill the children. Wow, Oz. What awful clips tonight. Just kidding. Go follow Oz. If you haven't already, then you're not my friend, and I will publicly denounce you. I will go to my town, and I will mention your Twitch or YouTube or whatever screen name out loud to my city and tell everybody to shun you. Just kidding. Oz is a magnificent being, and she is also has been very sick. I think she might be doing better. You can confirm or deny that, but still pretty much down in the depths. I mentioned in my go live message on Discord that that the lady folks might all be under some sort of plague, but I didn't say what it was exactly. It looks like, I hope I'm getting the order of these words right, hand, foot, mouth disease, or hand, mouth, foot. Those three things. And sure enough, it affects your hands and your mouth and your feet. And we've seen all three of those infected in various people in my household. And they're also getting fevers and not feeling well and lethargic and not able to eat. And oh man, the wounds that you get with this particular viral infection apparently look really benign, but are much worse than they are. They just kind of look like you've touched the wrong plant. And it's like, uh-oh, you've got those bumps and they're going to bug you. You better cover yourself with some pink spray of some kind or some, lotion or something. But they apparently like really itch and burn and dig at you and really it's freaky stuff. Like many other illnesses that have come through this house, I'm not going to say this in any sort of pride kind of way because it's definitely not something I am doing right. But I am not getting this one. So I don't know what happened. I can't be like, and then there's D, then there's me, and the way I live my life, I just don't get sick. And let me tell you the reasons why I don't get sick. I don't know. I do try to live a healthy life and eat healthy foods and sleep healthy sleep. And those were my brand for a long time. And I have fallen from grace on several of those and only starting to claw my way back into some modicum of normalcy. As far as sleep, I wouldn't call it normal, but it's better. So I'm getting better with sleep. I'm getting better with diet. Things are slowly coming back in line with what normal people have. So that's not to say I'm doing anything more right than anybody in this household. It's just right now I just chalk it up to luck. I almost never go over there to this side. Why is there even town over here if there's like no reason to be here in the first place? Why would you climb up here? There's nobody to interact with. There's nothing to do up here. Why is there town here? You can't enter these doors. What does it mean? What is it for? Looks cool, though, I guess. You can see the next zone over from up here. Yeah. I'm gonna craft some mines. I should probably check to make sure my city hasn't been nuked while I've been away or something. Let me know if the server is working out okay. I haven't done maintenance on it in a little bit, so I just want to make sure that nothing's wonky when you try to log in. Okay, so yeah, you break down the malt, the yeast, hops, and figure out what the flavors you get in beers. Interesting. So I'm guessing, yeah, once you sort of know those separate flavors, then I assume the other flavors kind of stand out more, right? Like when somebody says like, oh, this has vanilla notes. I find that me and a lot of my friends that have tried beers that have like tasting notes about them, like, oh, this one has blackberry or whatever. You taste and you're like, tastes like beer. I don't know. This kind of tastes like a beer. So I don't know that we necessarily grasp all those nuances, but I assume if you can compartmentalize with your brain, there's the malt, there's the yeast, there's the hops. You know, you've got those down, and you can sort of almost pull them aside, like dedicate part of your tongue to that, and so another part of your tongue's like, okay, I'm ready to receive whatever else kind of things. And then you go, oh, I taste like a tart cherry after all that stuff, other stuff is categorized. Is that even remotely accurate? Seems sort of where I would imagine that the tongue sort of works. Yeah. I'm not good with beers. I don't drink, so it all tastes like piss. I mean, again, if you don't taste like the nuance of the different components of the flavor, it's all gonna sort of blend in you. And if you don't like beer, I mean, even the mere act of tasting is probably not that terrific of an idea if it's not something that you're gonna enjoy in the first place. You should play Dune then. You could help with the PvEers. Oh, man, is in my interests. That's fair. I never push it, and it does take a breaking of the palate to adjust to something like beer, kind of like handling spicy food. I always felt like spicy food wasn't a breaking of the palate, but it was more like almost a desensitization, like something you couldn't do with an experience or two, but something more like a routine exposure at low doses until you've developed it up, which has actually happened to me with some other flavors as well. There's some things that I've tried that initially I didn't like, but maybe out of like, not peer pressure, but a peer, what would you call this? I need a term for not when your friends are telling you, hey, you should do this, and then you do it because they're all convinced you to do it. That would be peer pressure, right? But more like, imagine all of your friends got together and they were all really enjoying something, and then you tried it and you didn't enjoy it. I had this experience with one thing in particular right off the top of my head, which was Thai iced tea. My friends and I all like different food growing up, like late high school, early college. My friends were all like sort of foodies and would do like different ethnicities and go to different restaurants and whatever. So my first Thai restaurants were with them. And my first reaction to some of the Thai food I tried is that it had cilantro in it, and I'm really adverse. I was back then extremely adverse to cilantro. And the other thing is they'd all ordered this like, you know, really rich orange, creamy looking drink. And I was like, that looks delicious. I smelled it. It smells really sweet. This is great. But the first couple times I tried it, it was pretty off-putting to me. And I don't know what it was. I didn't really grow up drinking tea, especially not any black teas. So maybe it was just a nuance of that. But over the course of maybe like 5 exposures to Thai iced tea, I grew to love it. And now I crave it. It's a flavor that I really enjoy. But it wasn't a expose yourself to it once or twice and you've got it, you understand it. It really took time, and I'm on that path with durian, although Oz says if I develop a craving for durian and want it in the house and want to eat it regularly, there's going to be marital problems, because then I will smell like durian, or the house will smell like durian, and durian smells, well, if you don't know, go Google search durian, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Ideally, my legacy will be my name written in cursive on an ancient scroll to start conspiracy theories. Okay. That sounds fun. So you want to leave sort of like a cryptic curiosity that might lead people on the hunt to understand what's going on there. You leave archaeologists with a big puzzle to try to solve, and take it from there. You married me, you're the really bad person. I won't disagree with you there. I will shun the non-believer. Thank you, Stuart. I'm covered with all the painful bumps. It is hand, foot, mouth. Gotcha. You wash your hands more often. Me? I wash my hands. I need to start saying often. I'm really working on the pronunciation there. It took me literally until like maybe this year or last year to realize that you don't pronounce the T in that word often. And so I'm just extra hard on myself trying to pronounce it in a certain way. So bear with me while I try to manipulate my brain to do other things. Yeah, I do wash my hands fairly regularly. I think it's a matter of texture. If my hands have anything other than skin on them, the texture and the touch and everything, the sensation, and all the stuff that I have to touch that might leave that residue, it wigs me out. I cannot work with hands that are less than just skin and skin oil on them. That's it. That's all that's allowed. Anything else, I'm like, nope, I gotta wash them. And two, I'm really sensitive to smell. So if for some reason, like I scratch my cheek or something, or like, you know, pull on my nose or whatever, and then I have this whiff of like, whoa, what did I just touch? I get wigged out if my hands smell funny. And if it's something I can't correct, like I've cut a lot of onions or garlic or whatever, and it's that scent's like gotten under the nail, and try as I might, scrub as I might, I can't get that scent away. I get stuck on it. Like I can't think of anything else. All I can think about is that scent, and I'll keep like re-smelling it and be like, oh, it's still there. Damn it. Fuck, why did I just smell it again? I still don't like it there. And then 2 minutes will go by and I'll smell. Is it still there? Ah, God, it's still there. I obsess over my own personal smells. If other people smell bad, I mean, that's on them, and it just really doesn't bother me. I'm not like constantly wigged out about other people smelling a certain way. So if you like don't wear deodorant, I'm not going to keep like smelling you and be like, oh God, you need to put on deodorant. You do you. And I'm pretty non-judgmental about other people's smells. I'm really just intense about my own body's standards. Yeah. Brain is the wrong spice for the remembering of the hand washing. You're spicy about other things, but not that. Yeah. Best get a move on. My mate wanted my attention like an hour ago, and I should probably check in. You're probably already gone, but thanks, Toady. I really appreciate everything that you've done for us tonight. Have a wonderful, in your time zone, day, probably. It's running perfectly? Fantastic. Good to know. Martin29, welcome back again. Hello. That's also a form of peer pressure. Okay, one's just active and the other is passive. It's a peer pressure by association or ease of access kind of thing. I think that's really explanatory of a lot of what I experienced growing up. My friends never said, D, if you don't do this, you're not our friend. If you're not with us in this sport or this toy or this show, then we literally just won't hang out with you. They've never said anything like that. But they did dive in very deep to a number of things, whether that was like a specific IP or a game or activity or whatever it happens to be. And then that's all they would do. Like my friends were highly obsessive people. And so if I wasn't also immediately into, like I remember one time everybody picked up tennis, and tennis was just the thing. So they were always at the courts. They were, at the sports supply stores, picking up new shoes or getting a racket for somebody who didn't have a racket, or, buying more balls because they'd lose some or whatever. And that so it was their shopping habit. It was their activity habit. They'd hang out at somebody's house and watch other people playing tennis. And they'd talk about tennis at like dinner and stuff. And if I was not playing tennis with them, if I was not grabbing the equipment too, if that was not part of my being, I wouldn't have anything to talk with them about. They'd fall down that rabbit hole. And just like that one episode of South Park, as soon as I did get into tennis, and I did do this, literally like a month later, everybody was into something else. I spent crazy money to get into tennis and get on with everybody else, and wanted to play regular tennis matches with my friends. And then they all started to do something else together. And then there was another buy-in and another expense, and just it's too much. And I'm honestly a little bit happy that I was the asshole that ended things in that relationship with that group of friends. I wouldn't say that it ended because of any failings on them as people. They're all great people, and they deserved a much better friend than me. And I was an awful friend. And yeah, clearly the villain in that group. And they're all probably way better off for it than to have me around still. Yeah. I see you're riding a black chocobo. I have a lot of mounts and it's just set to random. But yeah. Smells like gasoline. Wait, what smells like gasoline? It's a pretty big black chocobo. Why are you judging my black chocobo? From what I've heard, durian smells like feet. Oh, you're saying durian smells like gasoline? I would say it's probably closer to feet, like Toady was saying. I'm glad you're still here. Because I did say goodbye to you and I was like, oh, he's probably not here actually. Yeah, I'd say durian probably smells in somewhere between like the foot smell that you'd get from like wearing athletic socks, like thick sweat socks sort of stuff that you wear for a sport, underneath cleats or like or basketball shoes or whatever. Something that got like a lot of sweat and got pungent, something along that vein. Somewhere between that scent and like a garlicky, oniony scent. So there's also like that herbaceous, earthy, pungent, kind of rich, like the base of what everybody goes, smells like you're cooking something good when you walk into the kitchen sort of thing. You're like, literally all I'm sauteing is like garlic and onion right now. I haven't added any spices. I haven't added any protein. It's literally just garlic and onions right now. And there'll always inevitably like be somebody in the house that's like, it smells pretty good. It smells like you're making something pretty tasty. It's like literally just those two things. So yeah, durian is like between those two things. But the weird and off-putting thing is like, if like garlic, durian was that flavor profile in the garlic and onion sort of vein, if it also tasted kind of like sweat socks or whatever, it's like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But durian tastes like creamy and sweet and mildly fruity, but also kind of like cheesy. And so it's the disparity there is so awkward and awful for some people, like especially because the way the mouth works, in some cases you can kind of like chew and have your tongue experience sort of the fruit and cream and cheese components of the durian. You're like, okay, yeah, I get it, I see, I understand why and then you swallow it and the aftertaste and the waft that comes up through the nose and through the mouth. It's like when you have something with a lot of flower, lavender or rose flavored things, right? These things like sort of waft back up through your sinuses and through your palate. And so it changes everything that you were literally just swallowing. Like some rose water flavored desserts, like rose ice cream, is kind of really more at its essence, more like a vanilla ice cream. And when you swallow it going down, you're like, this is just kind of like a vanilla ice cream. And that's the wafting back up sensation. Like, whoa, there's the rose. And if you're not used to it, you might think of like perfumes and soaps and things like that. Like it's off-putting if you're not thinking of rose as a flavor. Now I have the opposite problem. I was smelling, we have these makeup remover wet wipes for the girls while they're learning how to do makeup. And so you got these wet wipes you smear on your face to get rid of the blush and the eyeshadow and everything. And they smell to me so delicious because they got that rose water essence to them. And now my brain is mapped to thinking that rose smells like a delicious flavor and not like a cleaning product or something like that. So my mouth just waters whenever I smell one of those. Wet wipes. Yeah. But durian, oh yeah, it's very polarizing because of that combination of flavors. Yeah. Where did we leave off? You could shorten it to say you're riding a BBC. Stuart, if you want to ride BBC, that's perfectly fine. I sometimes ride a chocobo, but hey, if you're into BBC, just let the world know. No shame here. We don't kick shame. We just kink ask why. I still think it's wild you and Oz could smell me on those blankets. I even washed them. There's some nuance about a person's like musk that sometimes can kind of undercurrent even the best washing endeavors. Or maybe when you know what soap smells like and your nose dodges that, just like with beer tasting or wine tasting, you know what components are there that are sort of part of the main mix. then everything else that's not that stands out to you as part of the nuance. Yeah. That's most definitely peer pressure, kind of a little clannish too. That group was a little clannish. That's true. I smelled it in a drugstore last year. Durian, open or closed? Smelled like gasoline. Some lady had bought one. Brought one in, not cut up. I don't think I've ever smelled uncut durian. It's weird to say it that way. But yeah, I don't know that I've ever smelled it just closed. People were worried that they should call the fire department for a gas leak. Wow, I didn't know they were so pungent even before the fruit's broken. That's insane to me. What a crazy plant. And the fact that somebody in the wild found that and was like, I'm gonna eat the shit out of that. And then they tried it and they're like, oh no, that's awful. I'm gonna try it until I like it. And then they did. And then they convinced an entire culture to try it until they liked it. Weird, right? So weird. Why are we like this with food? I could eat just fried onions and garlic. Damn, seriously, it's so good. Honestly, that's like enough to make me excited about food. Literally just those two things. Just onions and garlic. I like stinky cheeses. I honestly like the flavor of stinky cheeses. The problem is, and I've really tried, because I really wanted to like get my brain to get the nuance of this. I've really tried to eat the rind on stinky cheeses. Because like a lot of stinky cheeses come in a mold, right? I mean, cheese is essentially molding milk, right? But then some have like a rind, an outside protective layer that has specific molds. You cannot just eat whatever mold. You can't just sit there and eat mold. There are healthy and unhealthy different types of cultures in the air. And you can't make a cheese with unhealthy cultures and feed it to people. So you also can't leave cheese in your fridge and let it develop like a green fuzz and say, I'm going to eat that. It's probably going to get yourself sick because you don't have a cheese making fridge, most of you, as far as I can tell. But I've tried like the actual, the cheeses with the moldy, the rind and everything, and the nuance of flavor there. Like I've really, really wanted to get it because it feels like one of those high culture things. And maybe that's just my bias, but I really did want to taste it, try it and go, oh no, it's not good. And then do it again and then do it again and like develop a palate toward that direction. But even today, and I've tried plenty of moldy, rindy, stinky cheeses with the whole rind and everything. Even today, I think about it and it just rankles me. I don't like that flavor but I like the cheese inside, but I don't like the stuff that's wrapped around the outside. Much as I try, much as I would really love to feel like, oh, I'm high culture because I appreciate that. And I can look down my nose at everybody else that's like, oh, you like the rind? Gross. No, I'm one of those people that says, oh, you like the rind? That's gross. Stinky cheeses also smell like feet, but not as offensive as durian. I feel like cheese also, because it's savory, there's something in our brain that forgives savory foods or umami foods if they have a foot smell. Whereas durian having its sweetness and then also smelling like feet that's where we feel like something's like extra off. I think maybe it's because of rot. When you smell like a dead animal rotting in the forest, which we've smelled that. Oh man. This one short, like all flat hike that we went on with the kids, like I guess you would call it a nature walk, really, not a hike. We went on a nature walk once and there was a dead deer not far off the walking paths, and you could smell it well before you saw it. It was not only gross because of its like sweet petulance in the air. Petulance? Is that the right word? It was gross. But also, deer also have a musk, and apparently some people are really wired to love musk, even all the way back to medieval times and maybe even earlier than that. musk was used as an aphrodisiac. It was used in scents that you would use on the body. It was even used in scents that you would use in the body. They made musk, I think they were like lozenges or candies or gums of some sort. I don't know exactly how they candified it, but whatever. Made some sort of candy or sucker or something, or mouth medicine of some sort. And you would do these when you were like looking to woo a person romantically and be like, oh, hey, what if my breath smelled like the scent glands off of a deer? But this was a thing. And even today, there are a lot of colognes and other scents that have musk as a primary or contributing component to the underlying smell. Why? When I smelled this this dead, fully dead and rotting deer, and the musk was part of that scent mix in with the other rot, it was awful. And I've smelled musk in other areas too since then, and I either can't get that one dead deer out of my mind, or I just don't like the smell of musk, period. But yeah, Oz brought home some grapes that are called muscadine, and they're grapes that taste kind of grapey and also very musky, like a deer's scent glands level of musk. And I thought everybody who loves these has got to know something. The flavor combination of what I'd perceive as regular grape plus the muskiness together, there's got to be. And I tasted it. All I did was taste it, and I had to spit out and almost threw up what was in my mouth. And I am an adventurous eater. I've had water beetle, I've had sea cucumber, I've had jellyfish, I've had alligator, I've had fermented rotted soybeans, the natto from Japan. I've had a lot of really weird, crazy foods. Oh, that salty, minty yogurt drink from Iran, Dukh. I've had that. I've had some really weird, funky foods and durian. And I've never had such an adverse reaction as the muscadine grape. And even well afterwards, like I immediately drank other stuff, and ate other stuff, and was just trying to like palate cleanse and just I scraped my tongue and like scrubbed my lips and everything. And for like 3 or 4 hours, I was just PTSD status on these grapes, which is insane because a whole bunch of states in the US grow and eat these grapes and even make like wines and stuff off of them. Yeah. On the topic of people eating things that would not seem safe, I find the fact that people who eat spicy things are going against nature for the most part. I mean, I feel like it's a defiance of what you should do that's safe, but heat in the mouth can be really pleasant. If food is too hot and it starts to pull away the other tastes in food because it's taking too much center stage, I think you're probably doing it wrong. Then I think you're just doing it for like gloating or like bragging rights. Like, look, I can eat this. And then you try to eat it and you cry. Ha ha ha, I'm stronger than you. It's like, that's cool and all, but you can't taste the 9 other herbs and spices in this food because all that the capsaicin like numbs you to everything else that you should taste. Then I think you've done cuisine wrong, right? Good food, just like a good jazz band or anything where there's an ensemble where you should really appreciate everything. The Avengers films, pick whatever analogy you want. You shouldn't ever have anything where you feel like something was disenfranchised or demeaned because something else took too much of a center stage. And I think some spicy food is like that, where it's like, now that you've added this much capsaicin, now that there's this much chili oil or hot pepper or whatever to it, I literally can only taste everything else at like maybe 10%. Whatever, brag about it if you want, but I'd rather have food that's got more of a balance where I feel like I could taste a whole bunch of stuff all together. Yeah. The heat is to avoid it getting eaten. Yeah, but it's good. It feels good. I want a water pick flosser. I hear those things really hurt. Do you want to? I'd say maybe. Doesn't my sister have one of those? I'd say maybe see if you can find somebody that owns one first and ask if you can test it. Because I've heard some reviews on trying water picking that it's like it's stabby. It's kind of like stabbing yourself with a really wet needle. But try it out. I mean, I don't remember who said that, and I don't know if that's really the case or maybe if that person was just like user error, right? Ambergris has a deer scent gland level of musk. Oh, back to that again. Ugh. So, and this is from a whale's stomach. What do you think it is about? Because musk is probably like a pheromone. What's the word? Signaler, right? Do whales get to smell the insides of each other's stomachs, or can you smell underwater? What's going on there? I wonder. Do they puke up their ambergris into the ocean, and then other whales are like, "Oh God, that's hot. Let's mate." The smell is very, very musky on that stuff. Man, I'm learning all sorts of interesting things about ambergris tonight. They don't hurt unless you put it on the highest setting. Okay. It's generally do not hurt when used correctly. In fact, they are often considered a more comfortable alternative to traditional string floss. Oh. Especially for individuals with sensitive gums or those who find string flossing difficult. Gotcha. Okay. Well, in that case, it's probably not bad. And whoever I heard was, I don't know, turning it on full blast and testing it on their most sensitive parts to see what would happen, I guess. What am I doing with all this extra random stupid stuff? I didn't expect to get all these other things. And we are at, God, 3 hours and 38 minutes. It feels, one, so late and like I need to prioritize making sure that tomorrow's workday works well. And two, like I didn't give you guys nearly enough stream time. But if you're not, yeah, here's what I'm going to commit to. Tonight, I really do need to prioritize making sure that tomorrow works well. Not least of which, like we were saying earlier on stream, I am working a day job currently, basically with an Eye of Sauron watching over my shoulder. So it's not fun, extremely aggravating. The stress levels are like through the roof. I know that when I talk and the way I act, especially when I'm playing in a game that I really enjoy and chatting with people who I really enjoy, you probably wouldn't note or sense that that's the case, that this is happening to me. But I can tell you, being the little mech rider for this flesh suit inside my own brain, that only a handful of times have I been more stressed and aggravated at my life's circumstances than I am right now. And with everything combined that's going on in our lives right now, this might be one of the worst points in the history of my life currently, while we're figuring out what's going on with why they're doing this to my job. So I'll probably prioritize sleep in that respect. Do you want to wipe down the keyboard, or should I? I mean, if you're already there at the keyboard and you want to give it a wipe, give it a wipe. If you use the no, don't use the rose-scented wipe. It'll make me hungry. And also, we should preserve those for the makeup removal. Yeah, just use like a regular wet wipe or whatever. Just give it a good wipe down. It should be fine. Or if you have spritz alcohol or whatever. I also probably wouldn't worry too much about you passing the virus. Like, I've been cuddling the kids and I've been touching everybody's bedding and stuffies and all this sort of stuff for days. So I feel like I've had maximal exposure to whatever you all caught, and it still hasn't manifested in me. So it'd be really weird if all of a sudden something happened and I was, falling prey to that kind of stuff. Oh, rubbing alcohol. Yeah. Up to you. If you don't want to risk it, you want to go through it, it's fine. If you don't do it, just let me know and I can do it in the morning just so you have peace of mind and feel better about the circumstances. Oz and I generally play by the rule where even if I say like, oh, well, I don't care, it's not that big of a deal to me, but if it does matter to her, we don't compromise on everything. If neither of us have any stakes in the matter, I think it's healthy for any relationship to say, you don't have stakes, I don't have stakes. Let's reach across the table and meet in the middle and compromise. Not a big deal, right? I don't care that much. So if I lose ground, I'm not losing ground. It's not a big deal, and doesn't matter to you that much either. So compromise is a good idea. But if either person has like a slightly higher or much higher standard in the matter, compromise is off the table. You just don't do that. Then you don't meet halfway. Because anytime you meet halfway between somebody who doesn't care and somebody who does, the person who doesn't care wins. They win. They get the better hand of that deal every single time. Whereas in our household, we make the person with a higher standard win every time. Because that person deserves respect and support for the things that they feel and for the situation that they're in, especially if the other person really doesn't have a stake in the matter. Then their opinion should be basically invalidated against somebody whose opinion does matter. Just how we do. Yeah. Just a little recommendation for those of you who are listening. Anyway, there is the Friday thing. If you're not already in the Discord server and you want to make sure that you don't miss what will transpire on Friday, then join the Discord server. You can, for those of you who are in Twitch, can see this. If you can't, I think the link for everybody else is, can I pull this up on here? I think it is dsc.gg/Damien. Let me double check. dsc.gg/Damien. Oh, yeah, it still works. Okay. So, yeah, dsc.gg/Damien. There, I said it 3 times. It's like an advertisement. Anyway, do that. Join the server or cyberstalk me somewhere and some other whatever avenue. Find my .com. Find my other DMs. Find my email. Cyberstalk me. Figure out how to partake in the Friday thing. What's happening Friday? I'm going to be talking about. Well, I'll tell you off stream because I want these folks to sort of be baited into the understanding and expectation of they're just coming for sort of a wider, deepening lore of D and the household and everything. So yeah, we can discuss what's going to happen. But I'm going to use some of my admin time to do something that's live but on Discord only. So there's no audit, there's no VOD, and I choose who's going to be in there and not, sort of thing. Yeah, I think you probably have an idea, but we'll talk more overtly about it when I come upstairs. All right. Probably gonna, just call it here so that tomorrow's reasonably healthy for me and I don't go into a stress bomb and a spiral from not having good sleep and good support. So if you've been watching on Trovo, thank you everybody who's found my channel on Trovo tonight. By the way, I've had a long stint of lack of success on that platform, so I appreciate all of you who have shown up tonight, and anybody who's dropped a follow. I can't actually see that because I don't have an alert set up to let me know if you're following. That's my bad. But I appreciate you being here if you've done so. Thank you for everybody who watches on Kick. I know some of you are literally just VOD watchers and don't think I don't appreciate you. That's a lie. That this stream ended a long time ago. It's still killing at 1 hour. I don't know who I'm rating yet. Yeah, I don't know who I'm rating just yet. If you've got a recommendation, you can let me know. Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate you very, very much. YouTube was my first main content creator profile anywhere starting in 2014. So now 11 years old, more than 11 years old. And if you followed me since then, crazy. But if it's just been in the last couple years, I still very much appreciate you. And thank you for everything that you've done for me and getting me partnered and changing the trajectory of where I thought my adult life was going to go, because YouTube was a big component of that. So I super appreciate you guys. If you're watching on Trovo, Kick, and YouTube, we're saying goodnight to you now. And if you are on one of those platforms and you happen to be safe, fed, and loved, please make sure someone out there is too, please. And I will see you all again on Saturday. We're going to pull up more Mist 5 and talk all the stuff we've been talking about Mist 5 on that stream again, because at least it's a game we get to talk a lot about. All right. Anyway, have a great time zone. I'll see you all in a few days. Cyberstalk me to make sure that you know what's going on with the Friday thing if you want to be part of that. And Twitch folk, hang on while we say goodbye to everybody else, because we're going to go find somebody to raid out to. For everybody else, we'll see you next time.